Emperor, from the snares of the heretic, the mutant, the xeno, and the warp spawn. In you we place all our faith, in you we find refuge, in you we find our avenger. Lead us forth into legions of humanity's foes. With thy spirit and give us the courage and capability to slay the foes in every battle we are compelled to fight, though they last until the end of time.
Joke's on all of you. I have Adderall. Wait.
Hello everyone and welcome to Conventual Warfare. Now with extra Adderall.
Was that the intro?
Yeah. the intro was jokes on you, I have Adderall.
Which is the next show coming to the Wandering Inn.
Yeah, surprise.
I will name a show that. Don't tell me.
Peachy's gonna jam it. It's right up his alley.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Wandering Inn. We are on episode number 4 of Conventual Warfare, a show that is serious and about the Sisters of Battle, also known as the Adepta Sororitas, but I still managed to name it Conventual Warfare. Yeah, when I was coming up with show names, I thought of that one, and I was like, well, we'll make it serious, but I'll just make the title a pun. You may notice we do not have Ellie here today. I know they look
Right
very
here.
Ellie's been consumed. Oh no.
A nice congenial Canadian has been replaced with a grumpy, angry Welshman.
Yeah.
I am not angry. Usually.
Depends on the subject. But yes, we have Peachy here now, which is wonderful. If you've been paying attention to the story, you may guess. Actually, no, it's not even worth being like, oh, you may be able to guess who he is. Your name's underneath your fucking window.
True.
He's playing Pichu Pixel 8, a Welshman lost in the 40k universe. Very true to life, indeed, as well.
I'm actually a very calm Irishman.
Yes,
IRL, I
it's
just
true.
play a Welshman on the internet.
I think the first thing I want to hit on is, speaking of 40k and minis and things like that, Peachy, haven't you done something recently?
You're gonna intro.
I'm gonna intro with your video. Yeah.
Yes, I have started a mini painting channel here on YouTube. Really, we're introing with this? Okay.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Subscribe to me. It's probably in the description right now, and it's probably the best video on YouTube.
It's really good.
Okay, you're not supposed to actually agree with me.
Dude, like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like,
It is.
it's a great fucking video.
Wait, you've seen it?
Yes.
Hell
Yeah. I watched it.
Okay.
That's why it's kind of like, of course,
It was good
of
production
course.
value.
I watched the premiere, and I was doing something, so I semi-watched the premiere, and I was like, I enjoyed the bits that I saw, so I replayed it a couple of times the same night.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this production value. I was like, this is good.
Like, the bit that caught me was when you said, this is perfectly natural and no need to worry about, and then you cut to your face and just shook it. Like, I was like, oh, that's a great comedy beat.
Yeah. If you make mistakes mini painting, you will love that video because I point them all out. Because no one does, right? Everyone's like, look at my perfect mini. And I'm like, no, okay? The mess I make trying to paint like a space marine. Come on now.
Yeah.
But you can find it there somewhere. It's Peachy Pixel 8. And I'm working on my next one. It's behind me currently.
Ooh, in blur. Yes.
In blur.
That looks like a really cool, like, station, like painting station.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it
I
does.
just turn around and look at it and go, oh.
I would feel that too. The serotonin that it
Right?
gives you. Yeah.
Instant serotonin.
But yes, for those of you who are interested, as a lot of you enjoy the 40Ks, for those of you watching live stream currently, the link to Peachy's video is in the chat. It just got thrown up by Mark. Thank you, Mark. And if you're watching the video, in the description will be a link to Peachy's painting video. Essentially, he paints a Nurgle. Everyone knows the Nurgle, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that annoyed you, you definitely need to subscribe to my YouTube, okay?
But yeah, the first video is up. It's really cool. It's worth watching, and there will be more. So go give him a little subscription, and prepare thyself for other painting videos.
Okay, moving on. That's enough for me. Let's go.
So anyway, the more important stuff. If you enjoy the shows, if you want to see more shows, I have lots of ideas. There are multiple ideas up in the channel Discord, where I'm just like, I want to do this and this and this and this, and some of them I'm like, I may not get to this until next year, but whatever. You can go to Patreon, Patreon// I think it's the Wandering Inn, or it could just be Wandering Inn. I can't remember what the link is at the moment. Anyway, it's in the description of the stream and the video, and pledge as little as a little bit, and essentially, you know, the more people pledging on Patreon, the more I can afford to do 2 shows. We're getting there. We're close to having 2 shows a week. And essentially, all of that Patreon money goes immediately back into the cast pay. Everyone here will be paid for their time, except for Peachy, who is paid in exposure. Congrats!
I really wish you would stop exposing yourself.
So every 5 minutes we'll have an ad break for Peachy stuff.
Yeah.
No, I will die. Please.
But yes, aside from that, there is the Discord, there is the X. I got it right this time, I remembered. If you want to be notified for when the show goes live and that type of thing, those are great places. If you're interested in what other shows I've done, and I can tell you there are some good ones in there, even if I do say so myself, probably the best place to go is the website. Again, all of these are links in the description. Go check out the website. There's essentially like a little show section, and you can see which shows have been done and etc. And yeah, past that, Syrinx, you're usually the one who shouts at me for doing bad intros. Have I missed anything?
I think you missed Peachy's paid ad time.
Right.
But other than that, I think we can let that slide for once. Did you still? I don't know if you still shout out your website.
Yes. I did shout on the website.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah. Oh, there is yes, a couple of things. There is going to be, as soon as I can get around to it, a little bit of a shake-up on the Patreon. Exact details I'll throw out once I've actually done it. But essentially, we're going to add in a few things for like slightly higher tiers. So if you're interested in giving more, there'll be a few more benefits and bonuses. One of the things I want to do is add in a little bit more kind of behind the scenes stuff when I can, especially for recorded shows, which we will be doing a bit more of. So if you like things like the bloopers for the Duacroma Outlook, hopefully you will have things like that, and maybe a few like cast interviews and things. Yeah, I have a few ideas of like little interviewee type things that I'll probably try and rope people into. I imagine the first person will be Peachy. That's how he pays for the ads.
I gotta get that ad time in.
Yeah, the sponsorships. Yeah.
Well, anyway, my merch is out.
Well, that's a very nice lead-in, because speaking of that, I am working on merch. Hopefully soon you will, at the very least, be able to get maybe a t-shirt and maybe a pint glass. I can say that of everyone here, one person has seen the pint glass. It actually looks kind of cool.
It's a very cool design.
Yeah.
Merch
I
idea.
really like it.
Well, wandering in.
Everybody
pubs.
gets mugs, but a pint glass, that is cool.
I mean, when you need to hydrate, what helps better, a mug
Yeah.
or a pint
Yeah.
of... Like, drink a
That's
pint
great.
of water, not
If
a
you want to
mug of it.
hydrate, maybe don't drink beer though.
Eh.
I mean, for a little while, you're
Yeah.
hydrated
Yeah,
until it
in
just
it.
passes through, like, yeah. But yes, and also there is going to be on the Discord now again with like all of the patrons. We play a few like games here and there. We actually played Town of Salem, and it was a lot of fun. But we need more people, so come to the Discord to play Town of Salem. It's a fun little game. And in the near future, I'm going to be starting up a fairly casual, don't expect a whole load of world building and general sheepy stuff, but a patron game where every month we'll sit in for a few hours and, play some form of TTRPG. Probably not D&D, because I don't know D&D, I don't know how it works, and I've never run it properly before in my life. But then again, I've never run any system properly in my life. Anyway, having said that, I believe I've hit everything I need to on the intro, and we're right on time.
Are you ready to start?
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
So, last week, we had... There we go. The sisters went down into the mine, and explored it to the very depths, to the very end of the mine, and found out that at some point they had the township had managed to acquire a fairly useful piece of equipment, a drill miner machine that was very efficiently and effectively grinding up the rock wall to kind of mine further downwards, and crushing it all up and ejecting dust. So there was a lot less debris and rocks and everything. The sisters, managing to find this thing, figured there's probably something wrong with it. Maybe it's what's causing the weird sickness in a couple of the miners. Went to look into it and found out that... No, apologies, they didn't look into it. They burned the shit out of it. They were like,
True.
this might...
It's like the same definition, though, for a sister,
Yeah,
look
it's
into
true,
it,
it's
burn
true.
it.
They were like, this might be heresy, get me the melters. And they brought a couple of melters down and just melted it into non-existence.
Like, what is that? That's a little suspicious. Smells like heresy. Burn it.
And it essentially, they, with that done, they came back up and were informed of I think incident is the right way to describe it. Essentially, one of the sisters, the Sister Superior Flare, who was sent out as essentially as pretty much the command sister for the squads sent out to hive Palladium, was hit by a sniper bullet. The PDF on seeing this panicked, shot into the crowd because there was a sniper somewhere, and that just makes good sense. Essentially causing a panic riot and an exchange of gunfire, because there were so many people and a fair number of guns. The forces of the PDF, Planetary Defense Force, and the sisters who were sent there by Canoness Commander Minerva held off, essentially waiting further instructions, and radioed to the commander to find out what to do next. Minerva decided to take the command squad over there, take charge of the battlefield, or the situation, let's call it. I don't think it's quite a battlefield quite yet. And promptly went to... did she even confront the... No, she did. She confronted the commander of the PDF, right? For a minute?
Yes.
And then he went off to convey her orders. And then... she sent her Sister Superior rose, who just went and executed him. And took control of the PDF, told them to cover them, and then sending in vehicles and tanks, pretty much charged the... it was about 100-ish, followed the tanks in, charged the village, and tore them to shreds. One of my a couple of standout scenes was Sister Superior Rose gunning down heretics, and then the Canoness commander making excessive use of a force maul, I believe we decided she had, which was like basically a big mace with like a force field around it, so you smack people and power field flares up. With that done, the sisters decided to move towards the hive and were just seeing the last like few people retreat into the hive. Were moving there to step in. Well, let's say we're outside getting ready to move into the hive. At which point we saw the inside of the hive, where lots of rumors were flying around about people coming to purge them, about traitors in their midst, about the assassination of the Cardinal, all these type of things. And we were finally left with a very, unimportant scene where essentially inside the hive, multiple of those same drilling machines were seen drilling into the side of the walls and coughing up this dust as they were trying to expand the area for the new people who are going to be moving in after being displaced. So, we will start with a shot fading in on the sun just cresting the other side of the planet. That classic like cinematic shot where the sun comes, you're in space with the camera and the sun comes from like behind the planet and just sparkles that little bit. As it highlights a ship slowly coming into orbit over the top of the planet. The camera then fades and moves down to the sisters positioned in probably firing positions outside of the hive. Essentially, you have a fairly large... we may need to... Give me a second.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, my internet just cut out.
That's all good.
No.
It was only for a second. It just moved around the cameras there.
Everything froze, and I'm like, don't move.
Yeah.
Well, it'll never be as good as when Josh was in the middle of an RP panic moment and like kicked back in his chair and his legs went out and he kicked off his router, so his internet just died and he froze. So we had this brilliant like freeze frame of Josh like panicking and like and it just froze there. It was great. He had to reset his router and jump back in after that. But sorry. We will fade back in to Helestri, Rose, and Minerva, along with the command squad and the other squads of sisters, essentially having formed a perimeter around the entrance to the hive. The entrance to the hive essentially being like almost like a little, it almost looks like a little tear, but it's kind of a constructed doorway. Which big open, I would say you could easily fit like 2-3 squads shoulder to shoulder, just like marching through this opening. And it goes in and then kind of like slopes downwards from what you can see of the inside. I don't believe any of you have been inside this part of the hive. It's pretty low down and unimportant. If you've even been to this hive, you've probably gone to the spire, most likely. That's where all the important rich people are. It looks like what you have here is a fairly open, almost like underground dome type thing. So at the bottom of this area is just like a whole load of, you know, houses and factories and a whole load of buildings. Some of them are very hastily like smashed together metal plates, kind of, you know, shanties, and others are like slightly bigger, kind of more constructed buildings, more official buildings. But most of it is just general city buildings, you know, houses, homes, bars, there's workplaces like factories and, you know, all that type of thing. My question is from here is we're going to have to go to Minerva again as the sisters are waiting for the next order, essentially. How are you wanting to proceed?
I think we would just like kind of scan the area. Like maybe kind of I don't want us to split up too much. But I think maybe we should split into groups a bit to kind of do, you know, look through the area.
Okay. So, if you wanted, I would say you have 8 squads, 9 including yours.
Yes.
So, like, you could split them down more into like half squads, you know, less people but more space covered, or, you know, even into pairs if you wanted. But depending on how hostile you'll feel this place would be, like, they could get there's a lot of people in this section of the hive, and, you know, there's just been an incident with them. So I would say, like, depending on how much ground you want to cover and what your objective is going to be, that's actually a decent point. Like, objective in terms of, like, going in there. What are you going into? Basically, like, pacify the populace, root out the instigators of whatever happened, like possibly figure out why there was a sniper and why some of the citizens had guns and fought back, or the origins of the mining device which came from this hive.
I think both are definitely goals.
Yeah.
But I would say the priority is the immediate thing at hand, which is finding the root of, like, who sent out the sniper, and dealing with I think that's the immediate problem. So I think we should seek them out, neutralize, and then if we take care of that, the next step is like, okay, let's try to figure out more about the drilling machines.
Okay,
and things like that.
In that case, with that as your kind of initial goal, how would you like to deploy the sisters? You have I would say the tank is probably not going to fit through.
Yeah.
you so
going by foot.
You can leave it out here kind of covering, which isn't perfect, but I would say unless you want to,
If the Emperor wills it, it shall be.
It's very true, sister. However, if the Emperor wills it, the tank may knock off a couple of weapons on its sides, and will also have to kind of squeeze through and scrape through. Think like think like the first time they take the ship out in Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, it's
You know, it's gonna be like.
If only we had the machine from the mine that could give us a perfect hole to fit through.
If
yeah.
only.
right.
But yeah, essentially, that I would say
Yeah, we'll deploy by foot and maybe split half and half. So we have 9. I guess it's not really 4 and 5 or something. Groups and begin scanning the area.
okay. One thing I say you can do, however, is it would only be on like essentially the main roads. You could take a couple of the support closer to transport vehicles in. Essentially, they would be at best they have like pintle mounted autocannons. They have pintle mounted like heavy bolters. But crowd suppression and stuff, they will be effective. The problem is if you're going deeper into the back alleys and into the side roads, they're not going to fit down there. But they could come in if you wanted. You know what? We're going to have a roll. I know it's weird. So many rolls, so much, but I always find myself rolling a little bit more in 40k for things like this. Could you please roll me an insight?
Insight. Yeah, let's.
Okay. That is 1 success.
Yes.
In that case, what I will say is going to be adjusted very slightly, which is, in your experience, the presence of a heavily armed force going into a hive can be exacerbated by the presence of armor. Generally speaking, if you bring in tracked vehicles, like bigger kind of armored vehicles, that smacks to people of crowd suppression. So it can cause more panic, or it could cause more panic. However, if you don't take them, you won't be as supported, at least on the main roads and everything. So I can't really tell you very deeply like how it will affect the situation. You're not sure how the people will react, but the choice is there. If you would like to bring them with you, you would have, if things go badly, you would have better like support, heavier weaponry, and an armored extraction. However, if there is a possibility that bringing them with you could make things go badly. So.
Yeah, okay. I am gonna opt for bringing them with us, I think.
It is 40k. It is 40k. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
Likelihood is they're all corrupted and heretics anyway, so.
Yeah. It's a risk we're willing to take.
Okay.
So.
I assume, although feel free to correct me, that the command squad, if you are splitting them into 4s and 5s, you'll take essentially. Oh, would you split up if you split up the command squad? Would you send the Sister Superior on her own with like the second part of the squad?
Yeah, you know what? I think that might be good to have her lead that squad,
Okay.
and then I can lead the other squad.
Oh my god, who do I get to join?
Yeah, that was my next. I was like, is Helestri going with Rose or going with?
Here I come to burst that bubble.
All right.
Ma'am, you part of my squad.
Yes.
But maybe
Unless-
the Canoness commander
I was gonna
needs
say,
needs a
unless-
medic with her, maybe.
Yeah, unless the Canoness needs, otherwise, the Canoness just likes to suffer.
No, I think Halestri would go with her her squad leader. So,
Okay.
yeah.
In that case,
Alestri's just like, Canoness Minerva.
Sorry, I meant by her, like not Minerva's group, but would go
We-
with
Rose,
yours.
understood.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. Yes.
so I was
okay.
just saying, like, basically, she's
Oh.
like, yes. Yeah,
see.
just grinning and bearing it. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Got it.
I'd love to go with Sister Superior Rose. It's so much fun.
It would be my
Yes.
pleasure.
In that case, as the I want to call them tanks. They're not really tanks. As the support vehicles squeak and trundle into the hive, followed by the individual squads of the sisters, I would say the only real sound that you hear as you enter is possibly like some squeaking and rumbling of machinery. There are still sections of the hive dedicated to assembly and construction of parts and things like that. In fact, one of the things that you know is that because this hive is responsible for the production of those machines to some degree, some of the parts will be assembled down here. So some of the parts of the mining machine that you saw will be assembled down here somewhere in the hive, in like the hive underbelly, basically. The rest of the hive is, I would say, pretty quiet. Obviously, there's quite a lot of people here, so you will see the occasional person like running down the street. But as you proceed forward, the sections of the squads will slowly kind of like spread out and start going down side alleys and down like slightly smaller roads that the armor can't get down. And my question here is, like, I'm assuming we're like kicking down doors and like searching for
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're probably being pretty aggressive and hostile. Like, we're not being like, I'm not saying like kill people on sight kind of thing, but like if people are in our way, push them out of the way. Like, we have a job to do. Get out of our way.
Yeah, that's fair. So as things proceed, Rose leading your half squad, you're sent down an alleyway, and like basically like kick in a door and move through the house, like searching for anything contraband, anything, especially like, a rifle would be obvious, but even like little signs of something being up, being amiss. In the first,
I'm assuming that because it's like it is a hive, and hives aren't like super hygienic or like super up to code and stuff. So I'm assuming seeing a rifle is like the least of my concerns.
I would say
Fine.
like you're going to run into kind of makeshift pistols and knives and things like that. If you one of the things you're probably on the lookout is for a like more high-powered, high-tech rifle, more along the sniper rifle variety. Like, that's not something you're going to find down here, most likely. And if someone has one, there's a very high possibility that they were the sniper that started off the whole riot thing.
Yeah, so I guess saying like pistols, like basic like pistols or like like handguns, like basic stuff that like some seedy people would deal with because we're dealing with the hive, and the hive isn't the nicest.
Yes. So I will have both of you just off the rip roll me an investigation, please. Sorry, both Calestri and Rose. In this instance, just to add to like see how things turn out and how things happen, Minerva, if you could roll me a leadership, just to see how the investigation goes, I guess.
Oh, thank God, one of us is.
Thank God one of us is investigating.
I was gonna say at least one of us is competent.
Sister,
It's why I needed to go with you, Sister Superior.
Sister Superior Rose has an investigation of 1.
No, of
She,
0.
you could tell that she's
No.
more she's definitely she's following orders.
Yeah.
She's looking around, but she's not paying attention to the little tiny details. She is very much into like she is shouting like at like all like the rest of her troop.
Yeah.
She is shouting at the citizens. She is like harping on them and like drilling them, you know, like if they even look suspicious like at all, then she's obviously just judging by looks and not actually like doing like the investigating and stuff. She's like sending the troops in, telling them to look around and stuff. So like she's not doing a very good job in regards to investigating.
If I can embellish a little bit on it, it's like you have like a kind of like short paved street with like houses on both sides, and like she's like jackbooting down the middle of the pathway with her squad. Stops when she's kind of in the middle of a bunch of houses and just stands in the middle of the street, like pointing at houses and like shouting people into them, shouting them back out. Like doesn't even go in to look. She's just shouting.
Very angry woman.
And also as a sidebar, when I said she had 1, I don't mean 1 success. I mean a pool of 1 dice on investigation.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It's like yes, so what I will say to kind of like give details of what is being seen and found, and I would imagine that you receive a few communiques from some of the from the squad leaders.
She's definitely being a big bully.
Yes, it turns up a fair amount of low-tech basic weaponry. We're talking like hand cannons basically being like, you know, kind of shotgun or equivalent. Things like stub guns, you know, like it's reasonably, and a whole load of like improvised melee weapons, you know, a shank, a club or whatever. It's not something you'd be surprised to see in what is essentially the underbelly of a hive. However, in the circumstances, I am interested to know how you would like to proceed. Like, is this something you ignore? Is this something that
Do I ignore the seediness of it all?
not the seediness, just the fact that you are running into weapons, you are running into, you know.
Oh, I look at it, but I'm like, you know, I sit there and multiple times you'll hear Sareth go, I don't understand why these civilians carry such weaponry. Pathetic ones at that. We, the sisters, are here to provide protection under the Emperor. There's no need for them to be hoarding such lowly devices. Throw them out.
I love how you say throw them out, but we have nowhere to throw them. So we haven't come across anyone yet, right?
You've come across nothing specific to what you're looking for. I'd say you.
Before I forget, I will say I will look at and I will go, Sister Halestri.
Sister Superior.
You're good at rooting out infection and heresy. Keep your nose about you. Even if you get a whiff of it, I want to know.
I would
like. Oh, go ahead.
I would like to imagine that up until this point, like being able to smell stuff is so weird to me as like a medic. So I would like to imagine that like in the mining thing, it was the first time she smelled something, and now that she has smelled something twice, like Rose is like, you can smell stuff, smell some more.
Rose
is like, I'm a fucking medic. I'm not a hound.
Yeah, Rose is just like, oh, she's useful. She can root out, you know, like corruption with her nose. That's so handy. Like that's great. So she's literally just like, I wouldn't even say utilizing it. I would just say like abusing the
Search
fact
my
that,
hound. Search.
yeah, basically. And she's like, but she's doing it in a way where it's like, it's trying to not be insulting, but it definitely comes off as insulting.
Cut to like a month later, and Sister Superior Rose has Helestri like a metal detector, just like going over possible heresy and just being like, sniff it, sniff it. Is it evil?
Like a drug. Oh no.
So with that in mind, those thoughts of like, I'm not a bloodhound, I don't know what you think of me, she will still reply and say, if I notice anything, I will tell you right away.
Excellent. You are good at that. Sisters! If your fellow sister Helestri sniffs any heresy about, or treason, burn and shoot on sight.
Yes, sister.
Let's move! And then she looks at the citizens, like some of the citizens that like she kicked out of the house and was like harping. It's in your best interest to stand aside. Possibly find a place to hide. If you have any useful information, sharing it now would be in everyone's best interest.
And one of the people says, we don't know anything.
Good. We are here to keep you safe. However, we cannot guarantee that if there are some who have embraced treachery and debauchery.
Can we go?
You may leave.
As a sidebar, there's a couple of sisters with big, like, bolt guns, like, standing with you, so obviously, like, as they are rounded out of the houses, they're, the first instinct isn't like, I'm just gonna wander off. It's like, I'm not gonna draw attention to myself until I'm allowed to leave, because big guns.
You're allowed to leave, but just know that the Emperor is watching you.
Okay. Yes, and kind of like the bunch of citizens, of people who were kind of like thrown out of the houses as the houses starting to get tossed, kind of run away whispering and kind of they start ducking like away from the main street into like alleyways and things like that. A similar scenario is
perfect, because that was one thing she was hoping for. So she wanted to strike fear. So basically, Sister Sereth will lean into one of the bolters and say, send one of our scouts to follow them. Make sure they are not seen.
Yes, sister. And kind of peels off and shouts at one of the sisters, and she kind of heads off in a similar direction. I would say.
I love the smell of burning oil and.
I'd say at least one
Brimstone.
of the houses is on fire currently, not having had anything overly like suspicious for what you're looking for, just for being a bit too heretical, or just
you can definitely tell that she's like, from Helestri's view, you can see that she is like very much into finding out the root of this evil and doing whatever means necessary to do it. And it is definitely one where it's just like you start kind of scooting away. You're like,
Yeah.
I almost feel like Rose wants it, because we split up and there's like two different groups. I almost feel like this is a competition to her, and she's like, I hope this source is in our part of the hive so that we find it. And I can tell Canoness Commander.
Yeah, she's
found
totally into it. Yeah, she's just like, this is like a treasure hunt for her. And you can tell that she is like super into it, and even more so, she's already been quite the zealot when yelling at her troop. But you see more of a spring, almost like not even like I guess like a yay, but like a yes, let's go.
After a little bit of time, you hear like kind of from one of the houses that the sisters are peeling off to go like ransack and go through. Like people are being brought out, people are being shouted at by Rose, and then essentially disappearing and running. And a couple of the sisters, well, the sister you sent out is essentially, as far as you know, is essentially like
tailing her.
Well, keeping an eye on where they're going. So she can report back to you and give you an idea of like what's occurring. But as they're going through, after a little while, you hear like from one of the houses like a faint kind of like muffled shout and crash and cry, and within about half a minute, a man is brought out in kind of like just standard Hiver apparel, leathers and etc., but with like a bit of a cloak hood thing going on as well, a bit raggedy, is dragged out, like dripping blood from his nose by one of the sisters, with like his arm twisted behind his back, and she like brings him up to you, and she says, Sister Superior, I found this man hiding in one of the houses. He tried to pull a knife on me. I broke his nose. And she just kicks the back of his leg and forces him down, still like restraining him.
Excellent job, sister. And Seraph will kneel down. She raises her nose at him. Now, citizen. And she reaches out her hand and she just slaps his cheek, like not even like aggressively or like lightly, just like that. She goes,
all right, my chum.
Yeah, just like, why would you pull a knife on a sister?
And
on one of the Emperor's chosen daughters, for that matter.
He kind of like he kind of like looks his head to a side for a second, like spits out a bit of like blood and etc., and then looks up and says, I didn't know who was in my house. It's dangerous down here. I thought you were just intruders trying to rob me or come to kill me.
You thought we were intruders, yet... Are you deaf?
No.
She squints at him. You're not. It seems your hearing is quite good. That being said, I'm sure you heard the hustle and bustle on the streets. The gunfire, the crashing, the burning, crackling of flames.
Yeah, that's why I was hiding.
No, you were hiding. And then your next thing was to draw a knife.
You haven't lived in a hive before, right?
Oh, I've lived in a hive. I lived in a hive many years ago. That's where I was born. The lowest depths of one, as a matter of fact. The one where the sewage is right next to your feet. You might as well be bathing in it. That is until the Emperor graced that planet and glassed it. I understand what it's like to live in a hive.
Well, then you'd understand that when you hear shooting and you hear flames and you hear people stomping about and marching, first you hide, second you fight.
I used to. But now, since I've embraced the Emperor, he has shown me the true light and the way. That being said, citizen, you did pull a knife on one of the Emperor's holy daughters. And I'm sure you, of all people, within this hive, understand the consequences of such actions.
And he kind of like straightens up as best he can. He's still being restrained by the other sister, and he's like kind of straightens his back up and looks at you and says, "What are the consequences?"
She stands up straight and puts her hands behind her back. Well, citizen, you're lucky that we sisters are here. We will show you mercy. And she turns around and she snaps her fingers as a sign to kill him on sight.
Yeah, the as she snaps her fingers, the sister who's holding his arm behind his back, like, immediately steps back, like, swings her bolter up, and you just hear this one, like, and there is a wet splat sound as your back to him, just like kind of on the cobblestones around your feet, there's just like a spray of blood. And the I think cinematically on that, the camera cuts to black and then shifts over to Helestri, because that was a very cool moment and I very much enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sisters.
Yay, sisterhood!
Oh my god, killing heretics together.
Don't worry, they're scum. Even if they're not heretics, they live in the bottom of a hive. No one cares about them. Hey, it's unfortunate.
Holy shit, Warhammer is so crazy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's really fucked up. Pardon me.
Yeah, it's
Very often at the bottom of hives like these, you sometimes get some bizarre like religions and stuff popping up. Like sometimes you'll have a hive that worships the emperor, but it's actually like some alien like statue or something. They don't even know who the emperor is. It gets crazy. Helestri, as you are going through the houses, you find something that one of the other sisters essentially missed as they were going through.
Do I sniff it out?
You do not sniff it out. Do not worry, I am not going to turn you into a bloodhound, even though Sister Superior Rose wants that with all her life. Essentially...
No lies detected.
Yeah. Essentially, the reason that this stands out to you is that it's not something you'd expect in a hive, but it's very easily overlooked. It is a set of... it's on kind of like a desk drawer type thing, almost like a bedside table. It is a intricate set of metal engraving tools with like acid and etc. alongside it. It is not high tech necessarily, but it's very intricate and for very fine engraving work. There is no reason why someone living in this section of the hive would have something like that. And if they did, it would be something that would be part of their work, and it would be at their work. They wouldn't be allowed to take that crap home, because, anyone living in this kind of area would sell it immediately. So... enough to stand out and be like, this is weird, why would they have this?
Okay. So basically very fine engraving tools for metal?
Yeah, metal engraving tools.
And then acid.
The acid would be part of the engraving you put it on the tip and then you can.
Oh yeah. Did the machine we found have any fine engraving stuff in it?
You are not sure. You didn't. The team did not investigate it that much. They burnt it pretty quickly. So, but that type of machine could very easily, like, depending on what parts are made down here and etc. Like, yeah, it could very much be engraved upon. If you're working in this part of the hive, there's a high possibility that you could engrave stuff on the on the parts that make up the machine.
All right. But the house itself is entirely empty, and
I mean, it has personal items and effects and things. Nothing else particularly stands out. Seems reasonably normal. But
it's just to find if there's any link to be made with a person specifically, you know?
in that case, then yes. There are identification papers essentially. The person whose house this is Clistrival. They are an assistant overseer at one of the manufactorums towards the center of the of this section of the hive. Basically, at the center of the hive, you have massive cargo elevators that go up to the actual, like, proper hive, where they transport, like, parts and machinery to be assembled and things like that, and then bring down supplies and things of that nature.
So it could have been a possible theory that this person being in control, basically overseer of the cargo and of the machinery that gets hauled, could have taken something, engraved it with I don't know to what end, I don't know how, but taken it, engraved it, and then put it back on the elevator, basically.
Yes, there's a very distinct possibility that they have that they or some faction of people in this hive have been tampering with the machines being made or the parts being made. I'd say definitely enough of an indicator to point in that direction.
All right. What was the name of the person again? Chris.
It is Clistrival.
Clistrival. All right. Is this like, I don't know, a thing where it usually you take this stuff and like the sisters don't seem like people who would say like, oh, we'll take this into like our possession now and we'll take this with us, like, or am I wrong in that? Because
Normally, when it comes to symbols, like, I know,
but it's not
depending on what they are they not symbols? Because I was going to say, normally they
it's
would just
just
kind of
gear.
burn the stuff.
Yeah, it's
just gear.
I would say if there's an indicator that it's been used in some form of creation of heresy, etc., likely it's going to be destroyed. I would say, knowing Helestri, I doubt she would have the immediate impulse to destroy. It would be more like report and show, and then let superiors. Like, that's a general
Yeah.
like squad level sister is just going to be like, this is a thing. Here, superior,
Yeah.
what is this? And then either
Yeah.
the superior will be like, destroy it, or take it to someone more in charge.
Yeah. All right. And this Clistrival is overseer in the center of the hive.
Assistant overseer, kind of like second to the
Okay.
overseer.
All right. Assuming that Rose isn't that far, question.
Yeah.
I think she will go outside, and ask two of the, or one of the sisters with her to go get Sister Superior.
Sister Superior is just outside on the street, so if you want...
Oh, literally. Okay.
You can
Well,
just take it out and be like, here.
Okay. She will walk over there. She will have taken the identification papers. She will walk over to Rose and say, Sister Superior, we may have found something of interest. In one of the houses, some equipment, engraving metal tools were found that are not normal to be have in possession of anyone down here. It's under the name or in the house of a certain Christopher, an assistant overseer of cargo in the middle of the hive. We could speculate that since they are in control of the cargo, they might be tampering with machines. They or a group of people might be tampering. You should probably take a look yourself. She hands the identification papers and then points to the house.
She takes them and she nods like, thank you. She looks at him. I see. And she snaps her fingers to the bolter that just got done executing the guy to like follow. And then she goes, Sister Halustri, if you don't mind accompanying us over to the site. She's very calm.
She will just walk over to the house.
As a little bit of a sidebar, just so that if you'd like to use it at any point, you can. You do have combeads that'll allow you to communicate, like, in the hive, like, even through distance.
Yeah.
So, in generally speaking, you'll have, like, a squad, like, channel where you can talk to your squad, and then you can switch over to command channel and be like, Canoness Commander reporting, you know. So, if you do want to check in at any point, you can do that. What I was going to, just as, like, a little extra, as, I don't think it will... I don't think it's something that will cause you to pause or like change what happened, but essentially a couple of times there's been like a kind of echoey faraway shot or something, you know, where it's like maybe a couple of screams, some shouting, but it's all quite far in the distance, even for you, Canoness. You know, like it's off in other sections of the hive, and it's like it could be an indication of trouble, but it's, you know, very spread out and like just an occasional instance of these things happening. I would say for you, Rose, that's kind of general life in the hive. You know, like people get shot, people die, like people scream. You mostly get on with your life.
People die, you know. It's just no big thing, you know.
As long as it's not happening to you, it's pretty much all gravy. You know, you just carry on.
Yeah. So she will have Sister Halustri, you know, show her what she found, and she will go inside with the other bolter. She will look at everything, and she'll just stand there with her hands behind her back, or one hand behind the back while holding the papers, and she looks at them again, and then looks at everything. She nods. And then she tells the bolter, send in the flamer, burn it all. And then she goes, Halustri, with me.
And
I have the urge to bark, to like, say, as you just said, command her to do things.
It's just like a salute and woof woof, Sister Superior, and then just
no. But she will walk with Sister Halustri. She goes, walk with me. She's just like,
walking with you.
Do you understand what you found?
We have no certainty, but we found something that it wasn't supposed to be there.
Oh, Sister Halustri, in my line of work, we call this an egg. You might be wondering why, and I will elaborate to you. that
Like-
way to give clarity. And she goes, that way to give clarity.
Yeah.
So she basically like talking like,
Can
Sister
I,
Helestri's probably just like, okay.
Can I just
Go ahead.
embellish a little bit
Yeah.
that as you're walking, like, it just feels like you'd have Sister Helestri kind of maybe like trying to scuttle a little bit to keep up, and like Sister Superior Rose not even looking around, just assuming that Helestri's following her. Like,
Yeah, she's just assuming that like Sister Helestri is like following her, but it's like that's not
even
you know.
even if Helestri like wandered off, or if all of the sisters wandered off, the same scene would play out. Like Rose is just walking straight to where she's going and just delivering a sermon kind of thing.
You see here, we have found an egg, and these are quite fortuitous. See, what the egg is, it's more of a, well, I don't want to say it's a clue. It's more so bigger than a lead as well. I think you may have found an even more good reason to examine that factorium from that machine that was made that we destroyed earlier in the mines. Excellent find, Helestri. And then she gives the papers to Helestri.
She'll accept them.
I will let you deliver the news to Canoness Minerva yourself. And she just has a very plain, like you can't read her. She's just very, very plain face. She's not angry. She's not happy. She's just very plain face, just like staring at her.
You get
Very
the
intensely.
you get the plain face back. She says, I will deliver it to the Canoness Commander. I
Excellent.
assume that she will then tell us what the way forward will be if we will try to find these people.
Correct. We're very blessed to have you, Sister Helestri. The Emperor's light does truly shine on our group.
I am just blessed that I can follow this course with you.
And your results are most pleasing. And the Emperor smiles upon you. She puts her hand on Helestri's shoulder very gently, and then kind of gives it like just very gently. Doesn't squeeze or anything.
I think she, like, for her, the conversation ends there, but then she realizes she's not certain if she needs to go, like, if she needs to report that right now or not. So she waits and then asks, like, do I report that right now, or do I wait until we are fully done here?
See to it that you report to Canoness Minerva post haste. We will continue our search here while you do so.
Understood.
And then she nods.
All right.
And then she like lifts her hand off, and it's very awkward. She lifts her hand off of her, and then she nods, and then she turns around and she goes, "Go ahead." You know, it's just like, sisters.
She probably,
Next house.
Rose probably thinks that all of this was so supportive. She was like, I did good there. I did good there.
Yeah, that's why she's just like, Sister Helestri in her head, she's like, I did a good thing. I'm a good leader. I can be personable. Yeah.
I'm such a good leader. It's like...
Yeah, I'm such a good leader. I'm personable, you know.
I love the idea that she's just standing in the road, like shouting at terrified sisters who are like, "Oh my god, she's gonna kill me if I like mess up."
She turns around and she just starts shouting again, like.
and like in her head, she's like just smiling and happy, thinking, "Canoness Commander would be so proud of me." Like,
not only that, but she's like super pleased, like out of character. She is super pleased with Helestri, and what the conversation she just had with it. She basically, in Rose's mind, basically gave her a good pat on the back, like a great job. Like, 'cause with her words of like, the Emperor's light truly shines upon you.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
So you previously said that we could communicate to each other via this I don't even know the name for it, but we could communicate to each other.
Oh, combeats, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the combeats.
Is that something that the sisters have that's like is it safe to
Yeah.
use?
It's like it's like a little communicative like earpiece.
Yeah. It's almost like a kind of earpiece radio, pretty much.
It's like a secure channel for communicating.
I would say, especially for the sisters, their channels, like sisters and Astartes, their channels tend to be fairly secure. Anyone like more technologically able possibly might be able to be listening in, but generally speaking, like, no, you should be fine.
Yes. Then I think I think I'll be safe and check if I can tell this via the combi. So I'll assuming that I can reach the Canoness commander via this combi, I'll say Canoness commander for Helestri.
Sister Helestri, what can I do for you?
Canoness commander, we have found some very important how would I call it? Evidence, yeah.
Evidence, contraband.
Yeah, we have found some very important evidence in our part of the hive. Do I report this to you via the combi, or do I go to you physically?
This evidence, is it something that I need to take a look at?
Sister Superior Rose has had it destroyed at this moment, but we have the identification papers of the people who are linked to it.
Yes. This would be good to bring to me, yes. I would like to take a look at it. So, if you would like to make your way directly to me and report this in, I think that would be most valuable.
On my way, understood, Canoness Commander. She starts walking.
Is she gonna tell Sister Rose?
You told her to go report,
Yeah,
right?
to like report it like over the comm, but like
and you also can everyone hear this?
I was gonna say, can everyone hear it, or is it just because I would assume that Seraph is trying to like focus on the
Yeah, so you would hear over the command comms essentially, and Sister Helestri would essentially be given permission to access the command network to broadcast that. So yeah, it'd be all above board and you'd hear it, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Then I'm walking.
You're walking here.
Making your way over.
You're walking.
I'm walking here.
Also, as a sidebar, I feel like, given that this is Serix's first introduction to 40k, like it's fairly accurate, but she's probably getting a pretty bad view of the 40k universe, where it's like, you're at the bottom of a hive, it's never going to be good, but it's like, damn, things suck for everyone in 40k.
Oh yeah.
But yes.
Like the people in the hive, if I remember correctly, too, a lot of them don't even know what the sun looks like.
No. Which almost became a thing. Like when you were like, the light of the Emperor shines on you, the guy was gonna be like, what light?
Yeah. Which is why she was just like, the Emperor, will show you mercy.
So switching over to Minerva for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that what your current reports back from your squad leaders is that there's a lot of a decent level of weaponry found, you know, like just basic stuff, but still, a fair amount of houses have had to be burned down because they have had heretical or close to heretical things. My question would be, what would your orders be when they find some form of heresy? You know, like we're talking not necessarily chaos, but just general everyday,
Everyday heresy.
kind of
You know?
criminals.
Like, it's like, what if we find like, you know, just like a little bit of like drugs or something, and the thing, and more as opposed to like actual big crimes. You know,
It's like criminal stuff and, you know, like etc. But I guess the alternate title for this show is Everyday Heresy. Just
everyday heresy. Light heresy. We don't. You know what? We don't. I gotta follow.
Oh, yeah,
sisters.
follow the sisters. Sure.
We don't tolerate it. We got a zero tolerance policy for heresy. So
burn it down, execute.
Burn it. Take care. Yep. If you know, they should have been like, they probably like, oh shit, like people are like not prepared for like Sisters of Battle, Adepta Sororitas to like be coming down in this hive right now. But sorry, we're here now.
We're here, and
so yeah,
quite literally, we're gonna slay.
Yes. So yeah, I gotta be the bearer of bad news, but purge.
In that case, the reports come back that multiple houses have been burned. Multiple there's no reports of let's call it the more extreme heresies. Mostly it's criminal activity. Mostly it's like drugs and contraband and and these type of things. But there's multiple executions and stuff. Before we go further on that, I would say, like, in general, in this situation, the common sense says don't scare a populace that's already scared. However, I respect staying in character and being, you know, like the D&D player would be like, I should not piss off a hive of scared people, but
well, at the same time though, I was gonna say the sisters would probably just be like, you know, we're dispensing justice and we're protecting these civilians, like we're their only line of defense, like they are lucky to have us.
100%. I just want to highlight the fact that it's a very solid RP choice, but there may be some people who play it more gamified or think of things more gamified, where they'll be like, what are you doing, Miss Magitech? Like, why are you literally playing to the GM's hands and being like, this whole hive's gonna go crazy? It's I just wanted to highlight that it's a good...
I appreciate that, because it is hard sometimes, you know? It is.
It's very hard when you, as a player, go, this is a bad idea. But then you're like, but I'm playing a Sister of Battle. There's a lot of people with, like, contraband and, like, mini heresy. Everyday heresy. Yeah, you'd 100% still burn and execute and etc. 40k is not a nice place.
No.
So, as this is happening, obviously, as time goes on, and as your squads progress through the city, more people are executed, more houses are burned, more contraband is burned, and you start to hear, all of you just kind of like echoed, some screams, some like building susurrus in the area of like shouting and running, and things are turning slowly from a panicked populace to a more angry, scared, turning to anger and turning to essentially the rumors and the fear go to a bit of fatalism where it's like, well, they're coming down to kill us, clearly. Like, people are dying, you know, people are getting cleansed, people are getting purged. The misinformation, everything. It's slowly, the populace is turning from, like, cowed fear into anger. And I will say, as like a little bit of a side cut, there are a few individuals here and there dropping a little bit of instigation and, like, you know, clearly these are the enemy, you know, they're here to kill us. Like, just, there are a few people in crowds and stuff. For now, however, this is a slowly building thing that you'll notice more and more as time goes on. For now, it's still mostly in the distance. It's mostly like spotted around here and there. By the time Helestri gets to you, things are proceeding pretty decently, and you are presented. Oh, sorry, Helestri, you walk up and present the Canoness with the papers, and I think essentially, unless you want to give her the details in more specifics.
No, I think we can summarize it by
Yeah.
saying that she gives the papers. She is again very, very respectful, with saluting and stuff, overly so. And it's a bit more visible and it's a bit more clear in her voice that she's like a bit less composed because she is like, this is like exciting for her. So there's a bit more than usually she doesn't really show anything and she's very calm. There's a bit more of the like stuttering as she explains it all to her.
Okay.
Yep.
So you now have the details of essentially the acid, the metal engraving kit, like being very out of place and etc., and the person being part of a essentially a production line that builds mechanical parts, pretty much.
Okay. From Minerva, from my POV, this seems a little out of our usual purview, I think. I'll just actually roleplay this.
Okay.
Minerva will thank you for bringing this to my attention. This sort of stuff, I should really say, is I don't know how well we've been trained for learning and understanding these things. We may need to enlist some assistance to better understand how these things are being built with the mechanical side of it. So, to my behest, we may have to enlist some help from the Adeptus Mechanicus to learn more about this.
Yeah, Canoness Commander, if I may suggest that our forces are still able to take on part of this trouble, which would be finding the people.
Yes,
To this and
I think that is
them
still
all out.
I think that is still our objective. We should still find those people, root them out, perhaps take care of that situation. But A, they may not be willing to tell us everything, and B, we can't trust them. So I think we should try to find more information about this while also rooting out the problem, because obviously they are here and we will deal with it.
Absolutely. The Emperor guides you, and I am certain that we will find every single one involved and we will get the answers out of them.
Yes. So in the meantime, let's continue on that objective. Let's find the root of this. This evidence, though, is very helpful. Sister Helestri, you have been very resourceful in all of this and have proven that you are worthy of taking on more tasks. I was wondering if you would be honored to, the great honor of perhaps after this is done, reaching out to our dear tech priest, the Magus, to get his insight on the findings that we found here, as they may have more insight on said mechanical ends of these machines.
As a sidebar, as you're talking around about then, there's like a small patter of like staccato fire and a louder replying bolt gun, and like a soft whoomph like explosion in the distance, like down a fair ways. I'm saying this as just like you know, an escalation of what's happening, you know, to let you know that things are still proceeding. I don't imagine either of you would be particularly fazed by it, but if you'd like to take note of it, feel free. Maybe it's like there's that happens and you both like look over for a second and then just carry on, like, you know, anyway.
I don't think Calestri looks over. I think it would be very very fitting if Minerva would look over for a minute, and there's like just a small second where Calestri like has a little like I would find it funny if there's like a little like squeak, like, you know, the like when you hold in your excitement, you're like and because of the fire and stuff, that's not like remarked upon, that's not seen and
not
stuff.
Caught in
Yeah.
yeah.
The second she
The
looks
sounds.
away. Yeah. She's like and as Minerva looks back, she's like,
Of course, if that is your decision, I will gladly follow your orders and do so directly when we are back.
Wonderful.
Thank
you.
As a little bit of a sidebar, you can raise the important people in the monastery, the fortress chapel. So if you want to talk directly to, like the lieutenant of the engineers or the mechanicus, the magos biologists, etc., it is a possibility. Specifically for you, Minerva. But yeah, I'm not sure it's necessarily something you want to do, but
like
just...
but that's good to know in the back of if like we feel like we really need. Yeah, I think we'll continue. Like, yes, let's continue doing this, and then you know, afterwards we might reach out whether we stay here or go back.
Okay.
Either is fine.
So heading towards the center where the manufactorum
yes,
factory thing is. I would say getting reasonably close to there. There are more people around and there's more activity. On the outskirts, like where you started, people are generally, you know, this is an area of production. They're still working. They're still going around. There's a few bars and things and drunken people and etc. etc. But if you're not on shift, you're probably getting drunk or doing drugs. But getting close to the area where this person works, you do receive, and I hope I get the right one first time. Is it this one? Yep. Canoness Commander, this is Search Team Delta.
You're cutting out a little there, Commander.
One sec. Yeah, there we go.
That's better.
Canoness Commander, this is Search Team Delta. We have come under fire from a grouping of civilians.
Where's your location?
She gives her location, which is essentially on the outskirts of the search pattern you'd set. It is in the direction of essentially a little bit of like light staccato fire. The squad leader says, Currently speaking, we are in a secure position and the fire is light. However, we have seen increased activity among the populace. There's a possibility of them converging on our position. What are your orders?
Sister, I'm assuming Sister Rose can hear this.
Yes.
I patch myself in and I go, Canoness Minerva, Sister Sarah Rose here.
Yes, sister.
Permission to purge the debauchery.
Permission granted. Search Team Delta, I will be sending the Sister Superior and her group over to assist.
A firm commander, standing by.
Affirmative. Canoness Minerva. Sister Sereth out.
And you take squads and... question, do you want the squads to converge on the area, or, like, is this a general shout, or is this a specific to Sister Superior Rose?
Say that again, is it like...
Is this an order you want going out to all squads to kind of, like, converge up? Do you want to... Essentially, do you want to keep the search going, or would you like to start going more... concentrated, bring your forces back together?
I think the latter.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
can essentially send out, as you proceed, a couple of squads will converge on you, and the
Yes.
rest of the 7 squads will converge in, let's say, the main road, going back and, kind of leading from the entrance, like, down that way. Kind of form, like, a protective screen along the roadside.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I think that works.
I'll patch myself in to what detachment is that?
That
one that's-
is Search Squad Delta.
All right, I will patch myself in. Search Squad Delta, forward me your location.
The squad leader patches through the location, gives you like a rough estimate of where it is. It's fairly far away from the main street that leads down towards the center. And indeed, like, a lot of the, like, slowly growing occasional shots and like angry sounds of faraway mobs seem to be, as I said, like, fairly distant, but I would say slowly coming closer.
Okay, understood. We will be there shortly. Emperor's like, guide you, sisters. And then she will patch herself out and she'll look to one of the bolters. Have one of the PDF imbeciles forward us a map.
Yes, Sister Spira.
Excellent. And then she goes to the other, she goes to another person of her troop and she will go, we're going to dispatch upon basic civilians. But they're not just basic civilians, they are also traitors now, sisters. And what do we do with traitors?
And then, like, all of the sisters in the area in unison say, we purge them!
Purge them indeed. Pincer move. Out. I would like to not just come up onto Delta Squad to, like, go to their rescue. I would like to take the map that we acquired from the PDF, and I would like to make a plan of attack where we can literally have a pincer move on the mobs.
Okay. I won't make you roll on this for, like, essentially this is your job and this is something you could do pretty easily. So you with your squad and a couple of your squad kind of like aside from Helestri kind of comes back together to form one, full squad. You move around kind of through the main road where the sisters are starting to form up. They're taking cover behind buildings. They're starting to form very basic, like turned over cart type barricades, so that the side roads are covered, and the main like street heading down is kind of like secured for either an advance or a retreat. And you move down one of these side streets. As you kind of like move down with your squad, you see multiple people like clock you and run inside, like doors slam and etc. etc. And you follow the sound of gunfire until you see essentially like a little kind of alcove area. There's like 3 or 4 kind of robed, rag covered figures with what seems like auto guns, maybe like a stub pistol, nothing even close to like a las gun. And they appear to be like there's 3 of them kind of facing through like a little doorway a bit to the next section of the hive, like firing through the doorway, firing through the window at the Surf Squad Delta, who do appear to be returning fire and etc. But there's also a and you heard it a little bit as you approached. There is the shouting, trying to shout like over the gunfire, of one of the men saying like, "Citizens of Palladium, we have been oppressed for too long. We have been pushed down for too long. Now is the time to rise, as our very lives are at stake, as the evil comes to purge us, comes to kill us. You must rise with us. Fight back against your oppressors." I'm like trying to, essentially, they have not seen you. You've managed to move up like through the buildings. You're now in a position where you can either open fire, or if you'd like, huck grenades, or if you'd like, charge in. It's really down to you how you'd like to.
Is it the one guy? Is he like the one guy speaking? Is he in blatant view?
Oh yeah, from the side he's in blatant view. He's away from the like window and the walls. You got 3 people like pressed up against the walls to your right, and then one guy kind of in the center, like shouting to the surrounding houses and etc.
I will one of the ones that are hiding on the side of the house, I will actually patch into all my sisters.
Yeah.
Whoever puts a single bullet in the Heresy spouter's head gets a promotion.
Oh my.
As you say that, one shot rings out, immediately taking the man in the temple mid-sentence of like, "Rise up!" and then just like one and like head explode. I will let you know that Sister Avicera, your sniper, immediately took that opportunity and beamed him in the brain.
She will say, "Sisters, move in. Shoot to kill if necessary. Herd the sheep."
So, are you going in yourself? Are you leading, or are you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, she's gonna go in as well, but she's like ordering the other ones that are like spread out to like move in.
So, under the current situation, the exchange of gunfire there is such that the people don't notice the let's call them heretics. Don't notice the shouter going down, or the shot doesn't like ring out anymore, obvious. So you move forward, and if you're taking the lead, if you're going at them, you can deal with them directly. What I will say is, if you leave it to the squad, they will move forward and deal with it themselves. Like, which way do you want to go here?
Oh, I want to be like a part of it. I want to go in there.
So essentially, if you want, you can just literally walk up to reasonably close to them and just open fire and pepper them and destroy them, or you can move in close combat and take them down.
Close combat.
Okay. So in that case, like as you move closer, you get to the point where they start to realize there's something going on, and they start to turn. Essentially, at that point, you are close enough, whereby just a quick charge and you're there before they can even bring their guns round. So 2 of them start trying to swing their guns round. A couple of the other sisters like barrel into them and start in the melee. Other sisters following in. The one you're going for is a bit smarter. He essentially gives up trying to swing his gun around and bring it to bear. By the time he does that, you'll be on him. So he actually goes for a knife. Kind of lets the gun like swing. It's on like a strap, so it like swings at his side and pulls out like a fairly large looking combat knife just as you like reach him. And essentially like as you reach him, he goes for kind of like a stab to your torso, as he couldn't really, you know, bring it to bear to get an unarmored place. But how are you responding to the torso stab?
I bring him in closer, and I
Okay.
go. I say, the Emperor is the only one who will take my life, and she will literally head bash him in the head.
Okay. You're wearing a helmet. Well, you're wearing your helmet, so
Yeah.
To embellish, I thought this was going to last a little bit longer, but that's very valid. Essentially, like the knife kind of skids across the armor and like slides across to your side, and if you'll allow me, I feel
Yes.
like Rose like brings both of her arms down and like crushes his like bones, his arms against her armor, and then says that, and just brings the helmet down and just like crushes his head and like bloodies his face, and there's like a actual indent in his like forehead, etc. And he just like immediately, once the helmet like comes down, you got this like splat across your helmet now, kind of like a blood rose, and and he just slumps. The other 2 within a couple of seconds have either received a chainsword like to the neck, or like you know, kind of like just been beaten down into a bloody pulp.
She after she like drops the body, she will be shouting, "Citizens of the Hive! The sisters, the daughters of the emperors are here to purge heresy, to burn infected. Put down your weapons if you value your life and safety. We are not here to spread heresy, but to purge it."
Sister Rose should never be part of a riot squad.
Great.
So
She's so bad at it.
there's like oh yeah, that's a very good point. And for once, I'm just going to highlight chat for a second and say thank you for that. There is a fleur-de-lis indent on the guy's face as well. You know, the
symbol, yeah.
yeah. I mean, has to, like, that's too cool. Has to be.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like 5 to 10 seconds of complete silence, and then like from one of the buildings nearby, like a shot rings out and a bullet like pings off your armor. Like, it doesn't stagger you too much. It's kind of like almost as if
It's
someone
like almost like a little like shoulder check, just kind of like a tiny one.
like someone poked you in the shoulder, you know, and like there's like a spark of metal as the bullet like pings off your armor, and then a couple more shots ring out. Like one pings off the helmet, one pings.
And as she does that, she opens her hands too while holding her gun as well, and she goes, "We are not here to kill you.
And you hear like,
we are here
"Lies!
to protect you."
Deceiver!
Me? A deceiver? I am one of his chosen daughters. I have been put here.
Oh no!
In fact,
waiting with bated breath.
The Mechanicus is uploading.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Sorry,
Jeez, I was
the internet.
rebooting.
Yeah, cut out for a second.
And then I go, if you do not embrace us, then you will embrace the Emperor's light by force. If somebody shoots, if somebody shoots, then I will.
Oh, all through the speech,
I will give...
there were occasional shots that were like ping off your arm, and you're just standing there,
good,
like
perfect.
Like citizens, listen to me. We are not here to kill you. We're just here to purge heresy. And like there's like bullets, like very basic, like low tech stuff, just kind of pinging off you. And so I'd say once you finish,
so after she finishes, if there's another one after she finishes, then she will give the command.
What actually happens is there's like a moment respite, and then like a clink 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 as a grenade lands like close by. There's like a half second and then an explosion. You yourself, you're a bit too far away for anything to like really affect you. Like a little bit of shockwave, maybe some like vague frag whizzing in your direction. One of the sisters with you, however, is like blown back by the force and like hits the wall, and kind of like there's like a crunch, and she kind of like falls over.
I will then announce to my sisters using the combine, and I will say, kill everyone. Leave no survivors. They have chosen their fate.
And
it is one against the Emperor.
Yeah, and as the fire starts to pick up, all of the sisters, aside from one who's crumpled, like raise their bolt guns and their flamers, and fire starts up. They all the camera kind of like goes from like your face to pulling back and then up as we see the like flashes of bolt gun fire start to spread out, and the figures like start to spread out among the houses. Like the gouts of flames start like flying into buildings. There's shouting and there's screaming, and the slowly expanding from your position, the sound of gunfire starts up, and slowly this section of the hive starts to turn into essentially a war zone. And it starts spreading out among the hive. This will be something that you'll start to hear Minerva and Helestri. I'd say pretty much maybe 5 minutes into reaching the Manufactorum is when the timeline of this plays out. So, just going slightly back in time a little bit, I guess, maybe 5 minutes or so. Minerva, I'm assuming accompanied by Helestri.
Yes.
Hey, she is taking full use of this because she hasn't been dismissed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say
you're moving to her physically.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So it's when you reach the Manufactorum, the foreman comes out. And like big, fairly big, like overweight guy, quite sweaty, like covered in grease, and you know, like he's got one of those like leather aprons, etc. And he says, "Sister, I'm Hess Dorman, foreman of this Manufactorum. How can we help you?"
Foreman, we have come here to do some investigation. If you wouldn't mind stepping aside and letting us through.
Of course, I'm not going to stand in the way of the sisters, the order of pure intent. But may I ask what the concerns are regarding my place of work?
I'm trying to think. how I want to approach this with this foreman. If I want to explain the situation, or if I just want to be like, classified, let us through.
Well, so to give you an idea of your purview right now, like if you wanted, I'm not saying you should, but if you wanted, you could just shoot him in the head and just and just walk in and be like, everyone submit to me, and then like if you wanted, you could kill the entire. Well, you kind of are killing the entire hive, but aside from that, yeah, like this is.
I got permission.
You did.
Okay.
You did. This is a situation where, like, no one's going to second guess whatever you do, so you don't need to worry about like working within bounds of anything. You are, for all intents and purposes, the top authority. You are the one in charge, and you also have a whole load of scary women with guns with you. So
yes. So yes, I think I am going to take a more intimidating approach. And Foreman, please step aside.
Oh, can I addendum?
Yes.
Don't say please.
Yes, Foreman, step aside.
And he doesn't even say anything. He just like steps back, puts his head down, and like gets out of the way.
And I just like instruct all of the sisters behind me for us to move forward.
Is the basic instructions like find the assistant, or is it just like search the place for heresy?
Find the assistant, I think, is the first order of command, and then purge any heresy afterward.
Like it's like find assistant. If you see heresy, purge it on the way, but find the assistant.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so essentially, doesn't take very long. He's located really quickly because he is standing over a section of the. He's standing over a section of the manufactorum, part of the assembly line, where there are people basically taking the parts off and just kind of like a screwdriver, you know, that type of more intricate work. He is grabbed and he is brought before you under the guard of a couple of the sisters. And essentially he is a fairly skinny, like rat-faced man, like kind of wispy mustache. And one of the sisters says, this is the assistant foreman, Canoness Trivel. And
this is he.
He kind of like looks at you. I wouldn't say complete, like particularly scared exactly. More kind of like, I'll say this without having make you roll. There's like a little glint in his eye, which speaks to a certain amount of shrewdness. And he says in a scared, fearful voice, like, "What do you want with? What does the Adepta Sororitas want with me?"
We have some questions. We'd like to take you in for questioning on some things that have been built within this factorum.
There's like, in the distance, there's like an explosion and everyone around, like all the workers kind of like flinch and like, oh god. And the sisters are just standing there like, and he says, I just oversee the things that go on here. I make sure everyone do their job. I make sure that the quality is up to standard. I don't know what you're talking about. And at that point, one of the sisters steps forward and shows you these kind of like inner working cogs, parts of the machinery that are like intricately engraved with symbols. What I will say is the symbols make your eyes feel fuzzy and kind of like itchy and send kind of like goosebumps like down your skin.
Ooh, okay.
And he says, I don't know what that, I've got no idea what that is. Like,
just do the hard thing. Just hard-handed. Just take him with us. No more
talking. Yes, I'm going to take the like blunt end of my weapon and just knock him out.
Yeah. So you just kind of like swing your power maul so that the hilt is like facing out, and you just go boom, like smack him in the stomach. He doubles over, and then boom on the back of the head, and he's out.
Take him with us. Search the rest of this place.
Yes, Canoness. So with everything that's going on, and I will say at this point, the explosions are happening, the firing is happening, etc. You have the, like, essentially the gear piece, the evidence of some form of kind of, you know, weird occult engraving going on the machines, and you have the dude. If you, I would say at this point, the hive is starting to kind of rise up as a force of like massive, scared, desperate people who think they're going to get killed.
Yeah.
And you're starting to receive reports through your earpiece from the squad saying, you know, movement down XYZ alleyway, you know, a small fire exchange, etc. If you want, I would say it wouldn't be a terrible idea to search through the Manufactorum, but like just as much if you want to, you can 100% burn this place down and just start moving back.
Yeah. It's getting pretty messy, I think. You're right. Oh man, this is really devolved into something. You're right, we got what we need, so honestly, let's burn it down. And so now that we've done that, I mean, it's a little chaotic down here, but we've gotten everything we need from this hive at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that there was a sniper here, the fact that the citizenry are to an extent heretical and rising up, the fact that they're very clearly... One thing I will tell you is, as the initial search goes out, they bring back like they bring back a few data slates with like requisition details. The machines built here have been sent out to essentially every hive and city and mine and etc. On the planet. So there are you have the details with you now of like what was built and what was sent out, but essentially these machines have been disseminated to the majority of places on the world.
Okay.
Which, you know, if there's some kind of like heresy generation from the machines, that's a little bit worrying, you know. It's something you may need to deal with.
All right.
But yeah, essentially, you have the forces to hold off like small pockets of angry populace. If the entirety of this like bottom section of the hive, like, you know, rises up, they're not going to have a whole load of weapons, or they're not going to have... But there's a good, very, very large, sizable population down here. And they're all kind of like... I'm not going to say scum, but they're all pretty much like criminals and, you know,
right.
like low tier of a hive.
I say then we neutralize the current ongoing threats of like the uprising. Let's neutralize those, take care of that, and make our way out of here.
Okay. Essentially you reform up, and the armor like trundles into back into motion, and you start moving back towards the entrance of the hive, like where you came in. It's basically a straight shot, like main pathway, roadway, back up to the exits, back into the outside where the everything is. So as you go, the sisters kind of like peel off from their defensive positions and start using the armor as cover and start like moving backwards. I would say a couple of times, like there is a whoosh and a crash as like improvised like Molotovs are thrown over at the armor. They're not half tracks and they're not like open transports, but you know, they do kind of like burst into flames. And I would say, currently speaking, you've taken maybe 2 or 3 casualties just like a stray bullet getting through the armor, or just like a thrown grenade or something just impacting. But for the most part, you are retreating back up to the exit in good order, and the best way to say it is the majority of the engagements are skirmishes, small groups of small groups of angry citizens being like, "You girls, stupid girls! I don't like the girls in my hive." But no, angry citizenry, like with pistols and maybe the occasional autogun or something. Coming out around the corner, exchanging very quick fire, maybe losing one or two people to the much more superior firepower and accuracy of the sisters. Maybe throwing a few stones, maybe even like a flagstone, etc. And then disappearing again. And currently the orders are not to like seek out and hunt down. It's to slowly like move back. So the going is a little bit slowed by the engagements, and as time goes on, the more and more of the populace is kind of turning up. Like, the groups are getting bigger, the weaponry is getting a bit more condensed, so there's more fire, and you start to get Molotovs and a few grenades even. But I would say, you know what? Let's go for a roll for. I would say probably for Rose and for Minerva. Helestri, unless you want to roll this, I wouldn't say it's required because it's more of a command, battlefield experience thing. Let's say, could you please either give me an awareness or an insight? And specifically for Minerva, you can also use a leadership. Just because leadership really plays into your role of, assessing the situation. Oh, damn!
Woo!
That is 5 successes at the leadership there. Sareth is just focused on murdering people.
Kind of blinded by just the pure, bloodlust at this point.
It's like awareness, no. Investigation, no. Murder, sure.
Yes.
I can kill people for my queen.
Yes.
Give me a bolt gun and some form of melee weapon, and I will destroy everyone. Ask me to observe something, I sleep.
Observing something? Nah, I got my bloodhound for that. Thank you.
Did you not see me indent a dude's skull with a fleur-de-lis? That's my thinking. That's how I use my head.
Uses. We all have our strengths, and that is Sister Rose's strength.
In that case, what I will say is, while the situation is not dire yet, you worry that with the delays of this with the delays of these kind of skirmishing groups that keep coming from the sides and from behind, you're going to be delayed enough that the hive will keep rising and will eventually envelop you before you can get out.
Oh.
And also, if you keep going at the pace you go, if this is an if, basically, because you're not sure exactly of the situation, in the deeper hive and all around. If the hive is indeed actually going to full on rebel or turn against you, you need to call in extraction, which will take some time, and B, if you're going to deal with this, you'll need to form proper defenses. Which will require you to get outside, form some kind of barricade and defenses, and preferably, you know what? Going off this leadership, I'm going to tell you straight up what you should do. Stop slowly retreating. Get as many of the sisters on top of the armor as you can. Tell them to burn hell for leather outside. Jump off, form a choke point, form a fire base, and just shoot anyone who exits the hive.
Yeah, That sounds about right.
That's 5 degrees of success on a roll then
Yeah.
right there for you. That's like, no, yeah, fuck this moving slowly. Just get out and form a barricade.
Makes sense. That's what we'll do.
Okay. The order shouts out. Immediately, the sisters switch from a slow withdrawal to essentially as many of them as possible, like jump on the top of the armor of the transport things. The heavy bolters on like the swivel guns on the side just start opening up to provide covering fire as they increase their speed to a walking speed to more of a like quick march running speed. And as they take off, the remainders of the sisters who aren't able to fit on essentially go full they go full kind of like run to keep up at the sides. Like very occasionally they'll snapshot to the sides if they see someone coming towards them. But the response from around you is this kind of like to begin with, it's just like a little bit close to you. Eventually the entire hive is this kind of like screaming, yelling mass of voices, like a mixture of anger and fear and built up frustration and rage as you get outside of the hive and start to spin the armor around, like forming a barricade. Like there's a fair amount of like general metal and like concrete, etc., like debris, which is quickly moved in. In this instance, could you please roll me a leadership for Minerva and Rose? This is just seeing how efficiently you organize everything and organize everyone. Yeah, you know what? 3 successes, 2 successes is pretty good. The chain of command is remaining strong. The discipline is remaining strong. Within a good like 5 or so minutes, the majority of the barricade has been formed and been set up. Before we hit what happens next, Commander, I'm assuming you are calling for some form of extraction, like bring in the transport flyers to extract you out.
Yes.
You also have the PDF, who are still formed the further away barricade line, depending on what you want to do with them.
Yeah, I guess have them hold the line for us so we can get out, essentially. Okay. Yeah.
So you want to call them? You want to call them up to your line for when the flyers get here?
Yeah. They're less important in my mind, so they can be expendable.
Okay. In that case, the PDF are summoned and brought up. They don't question it. You're still in command of them, and they form a buffering firing line along with the sisters. Within about 10 minutes, you've called in for the flyers to come and extract. I'd say you have probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours until they're going to get there. So you got to hold out for a fair while. Hopefully this is more a spark that ignited as opposed to an organized uprising. Like, draw you in and then and rise up. The indications you have, both, all of you, is like it doesn't seem like something planned. It seems like, who knows what happened, but someone lit a spark and it blew up the keg, kind of thing. Not looking at anyone, Rose. But the likelihood is the citizenry in the like expanded area will slowly be riling themselves up and following the crowd, and that kind of like tension just releases itself and explodes everywhere. But they're going to likely come in groups and start gaining bravery and start riling each other up until eventually, like, you'll either have waves or groups of citizenry like charging your defense line. So the objective would be to hold that. Within about 10 minutes of setting up the defensive line, there's a kind of, reasonably important, because there is currently basically no fire or anything going on. A reasonably quiet pool settles over the barricade. You do hear like very soft echoed kind of like shouts and screams and like angry chanting and things coming from inside the hive. But because you're now outside, it's fairly hard to see anything in detail through the gap. You're like a fair ways away from the entrance as well, on this like formed barricade. But it's sunny and shining outside. It's dark and dingy inside. Hard to see exactly what's going on. I'd say, what are your orders, Minerva, for engagement? Is it engage at will? Is it hold fire for my order? Is it like kill anything that comes out? Like, where are we situated here?
I don't necessarily want to go to kill everything at will. I think engage only if necessary.
Yeah.
So let's try to hold.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say like within about 10 minutes, like you start hearing some activity near the opening, and then like maybe 3 or 4 people come like charging out, like they've got like sticks and with a like, nail through it, and all the traditional kind of like improvised and like screaming, like charging towards the barricade one by one, just kind of like filtering out. In rules of engagement, everyone holds fire.
Yeah. Hold fire. They're not a threat.
Roll me your leadership, please.
Oh,
We'll see if they listen.
It is not for the sisters. It is specifically for the PDF. They have proved to be ineffectual before. However,
that makes sense.
4 successes, absolutely they hold fire. Could you please roll me let's see, an insight as well, please? Just to like take a gauge on the people charging you. Okay. You have no idea, like whether, like the disposition of these people, like whether they're too far gone or whatever. But essentially, these people charge, and they just keep charging. There's a good stretch of area. They're screaming, they're charging. The likelihood is that these are the ones who have already worked themselves up into a state to charge a line of, At any point, do you order them to fire, or do you just let them get to the barricade?
I think I would just let them get to the barricade, honestly, at this point.
When they get to the barricade, they like crash against it, like in kind of like a frenzy. They start like hitting the barricade, and then they start trying to like climb over it, and like they're throwing like bits and pieces at the. And literally, the sisters of the PDF are all standing there, like guns raised, like prepared to fire. And I think maybe a couple of PDF heads turn, like looking for orders.
It's not worth the firing. They are not a threat. Let's hold the line and make sure everybody gets out.
Okay. With that, you hear a rumbling from the hive, from the entrance to the hive.
Oh god.
And charging out comes a blob, a mass of people. There's firing, there's people falling over and trampling each other. There is just a horde of people. Like, you play Dark Tide, it's a horde of people. They're not all nurgled up and everything, but it's just a horde of that type of, like, citizenry, whipped up into a fever, afraid, terrified that they're going to be purged or destroyed, and just that fear turns into anger, turns into frenzy. They're whipping each other up. And I would say, completely filling the exit, which can fit, like, a couple of squads side by side, just like pours out and charges towards the barricade.
Oh god.
I think you mean Emperor.
Emperor, protect us. Okay, so they're basically, it's just like this gosh. And they're charging toward us.
Yeah. Like, I'll put this to you. Like, you could ignore a couple of idiots bang. Like, they'll have been punched. They'll have been knocked with a like rifle butt or whatever. At this point, the hive is lost.
Are we like we're still there, right?
Yeah. You
Like,
you are
all right,
you're all now on the barricade and
I will shout, "Flamers, take front!"
Yep. The flamers kind of move to the front, like unhook, and like as the horde is charging towards, like getting closer, there's just that little drip of like igniter fuel, and
I go on the combi.
Yep.
Tank, ready to fire on my signal.
confirmed, Sister Superior.
I look at Canoness Minerva. Canoness, at your ready.
You see the canoness close her eyes for a minute, and you hear, like, under her breath, a small prayer to the Emperor. And then she opens her eyes, looks to you, and nods. Proceed. Fire.
Understood. Fire.
And the order like spreads out. All forces fire, and a mixture of bolter, flamer, melter, just a firing line of fire just flies into this crowd as the first rank, second rank, third rank all get obliterated. The tank opens up with its cannon and just like blows a hole in the crowd. Like bodies, arms, limbs all flying all over the place, immediately filled with the press of people just like spewing out of this out of the entrance to this hive. And I will say at this point, it's not something that like slaps you in the face, makes you stop, but you do notice more and more instances of like deformities and mutations, as like some of the hive have apparently been corrupted to the point where it is prominent on them. And as this fire starts to kind of spread out, and the horde, luckily speaking, the horde can't flank you. They have to attack you directly. But this kind of like outpouring of people eventually reach the barricade, and the fire peters off very slightly, as so does the tail end of the crowd. It peters off, like the flood of people stops pouring out of the hive, but the barricade descends into a mixture of close combat and basically like firing over the combat into the mass of people. I think all of you have an instance of like close combat. So like Canoness Commander, you're standing there at the front, like a kind of crazed, like almost frothing at the mouth, like hiver, like manages to get to the top of the barricade, like jumps at you and like has a like weird crowbar type thing. It's like a metal bar with like a hook on the end, like jumps down at you, and like essentially what I'll say is not really a super massive threat to you. So as he jumps and like swings down at you, how do you respond there? Like, what's I pretty much, if you want, you can bring your gun to bear, shoot him, you can smack him down with the hammer, with the maul.
I would just smack him down.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Yeah. He's got that kind of like legs hooked behind him jump, and he's got the metal bar. He's like, ah, and you're just like fire up the power maul and just smack, and like he just goes flying, like let's say like slaps against the side of the tank, and just like kind of like squeaks down the side of it. Helestri, I would say, unless you're thinking otherwise, I would say you're a little bit back from the front firing line, probably providing support fire, and
Yeah, I think it's way more useful that she would be at the back and she would be basically, if people would get hurt, like patching them up. Like she has the tools to quickly cauterize wounds, make sure they stop bleeding, and then give them a little boost, a little basically a syringe that pops them back up and gets them like going for now. They'll probably need medical attention later on, but for now they'll be good.
For now it's patch, stim.
They
get back
won't
in
feel
there.
it now.
Yeah.
They'll feel it later though.
So I imagine like one of the sisters has like a kind of like round graze like wound, kind of like bleeding a little bit there, and you essentially like cauterize the wound, seal it up, put some like basically like expanding bandage, like liquid bandage, expands, and then give her like a shot. And like in the middle of this, while you're working, while you're using your narcissism to kind of apply an injection, like a mixture of, it's like a cocktail of like stim, but also like nerve dampening, so that the pain kind of like recedes a little bit, painkillers. Like in the middle of all of this, kind of like seeing someone, you like look to the side, you see a couple of people like climbing up over the barricade and like finally get to the top, like waving a improvised melee weapon. You just like for a second you just reach down, pick up your bolter, like and they just like one of their like shoulders gets blown off, another one their leg gets knocked, and they like tumble back down the massive bodies on this barricade.
Also, Helestri is very calm in all of this. She's kind of like Rose in that fact, where she doesn't really seem panicked or anything. Yeah. And for those wondering out there, no, she's not cauterizing the wounds with a fucking flamer. She has like tools on her glove for that, like small little, like almost like the type you used to do like cigarettes, like in the older cars they had like the little tub you could take out. Yeah. And it was like super hot, like that. Not a flamer. Thank you.
It's essentially like the purpose of it is usually with a wound you want to like stem the bleeding and like suture it up in the midst of battle when they have to get immediately back, as long as it's not like fatal or like critical. You just burn it and you just cauterize the wound, make sure they're not bleeding, give them some stims, give them some painkillers.
You're good to go, baby.
Slap the butt and get back in there.
Get back out there.
Go get him, Tiger.
Tiger.
Yeah, that's it.
Like an actual hard slap on the butt.
And so additionally, Sister Superior Rose, I assume you're more leading the squad than getting stuck in on the firing line, but I may be wrong here?
No, you're correct.
Okay. So essentially, like, for the most part, you're not engaged in direct melee hand-to-hand. I'd say, again, similar to what happened with Helestri, like, occasionally you'll see a like, head pop up and just, like, bring your weapon to bear and, like, squeeze off a shot or two. But what I will say is, this whole episode, this whole kind of like melee or like combat takes maybe like 10 minutes until the majority of the wave is killed, and once again like silence kind of settles over the field as there's like one or two like crack like echoed shots as dying or dead heretics or whoever are executed, and then there's just silence. You can hear the similar murmur and like rumbling of approaching feet and people, like essentially another group of the hive. As a sidebar, the one you just faced is probably like a couple % of the entire population. So, like if the entire set of this bottom hive is coming after you, you've got a good like 100 or so more of these waves to face. And it sounds like at least another one, maybe a larger one, is on the way. You hear over your combead, Canoness Commando, I think it's no, it's not. Sorry, apologies. Canoness Commander, Extraction Team, ETA, 1 hour.
1 hour?
Sorry, Commander, we can't make it any sooner than that.
So essentially we have to
Hold for an hour.
hold the line for another hour. Thick. All right.
And what I will say is at this point, you have been keeping abreast of the main channels over the combeads, over the radios on the planet, Captain Tykar. At this point, your troops are ready to deploy to a position of your choosing, and I feel like you've probably chosen a place to position to deploy. So if you would like to inform your allies of your impending arrival so they don't panic and shoot you down, that wouldn't be a terrible idea.
Canoness Minerva.
I hear on the comm a new voice. To whom am I speaking?
This is Company Master Captain Varric Tykar of the Fidelis Angelus. Please
Captain.
clear Sector 702-C. We are landing.
And it immediately cuts off.
Understood. I let the rest of the sisters know that they will be making their way in.
If I may, I would say one of the over the command combead, one of the squad leaders, one of the sister superiors says, "Bless the Emperor, his angels are coming."
Oh.
As you all hear, slowly at first, and it kind of matches in sync with the rumble of the hive, the people coming from towards the entrance or exit to the hive, the rumble from the skies. As you look up, you see sections of the sky kind of light on fire, and this like smoke trail like slowly coming down towards you, and the as you hear the shouts and the screams of the angry populace starting to get closer to the exit, these like kind of these pods just crash down in front of the barricade, like one by one in a section, like all in front of you. As the first of the populace start to charge out, start to scream, and start to fire wildly, the more mass of the mob starts to like pour out. The same like concentration of lots of people. The pods themselves, like the doors of them, like burst open, and immediately firing into the crowd. These large, armored space marines just start stepping out with just this concentration of fire just ripping through. And one in particular stands out to you. He has a cape and he has a ignited power sword. Captain Tykar, your Astartes are marching forward, firing into the crowd. The mob is getting closer and closer to you. What do you do?
Team 4, purify the LZ. Tech Marine, I want a mobile command unit. Somebody get me in touch with whoever's in charge here.
Yes, Captain.
And I will join my brothers and hold back the line.
Yeah.
Whilst everyone fans out. Basically, in front of the the teardrop that just happened. There's probably craters everywhere, so they can take cover there if they need.
Yeah, craters everywhere. But again, like the force arrayed against you, are essentially like very basic low-tech weaponry, not a super threat to you and your armor. So the majority of it is just a mass of bodies kind of coming towards you. The fire team's kind of set up in little kind of like horseshoe formation, kind of like facing towards the enemy and start lighting up.
They're all civilians.
I mean, like, yes, they're all from the Hive. I don't think you'd consider any of them civilians at this point.
Okay.
Angels, phosphex, grenades, crowd control.
And immediately, there's like the fling and the grenades are sent over, and what was it? Phosphorus? Like
Phosphex.
Phosphex. That
White
is
phosphorus.
yeah.
War crimes in a little can.
Yeah, war crimes in a can. And essentially, they explode, and like there's kind of like white, smoky gas. Like there's screaming, and there's people like coming out of the gas, like melting, and horrific scenes of horrible war crimes. A few, I would say, like a good 20 or 30 of the remains make it into like, let's call it base-to-base contact with your squads, and a couple of them even like come at you. Again, like makeshift metal things, maybe a pistol firing like as you're standing there with your foresword. And bolt pistol, is it, or plasma pistol?
Well, I'm a captain, so I have a mastercrafted heavy bolter pistol.
Oh, okay. Mastercrafted heavy bolter pistol.
Bright red frame, gold filigree, and a big scroll on the side that says Ductus Exemplo.
Which means?
Which is pig Latin.
Okay, I like it.
High Gothic.
Yeah, High Gothic, yeah.
Lead by example, lead from the front, kind of.
And like as you're standing there, you have the same power sword, right?
I do.
Same boy. Okay.
If you can see it, it's fully ignited. There's a power field around it. It's a carbonite longsword, and as it ignites, the hilt and the blade split apart. So it looks like a broken sword.
Yeah.
It's
and
big as well. It's like the size of a human.
Yes. And you're standing there, and the like vague stray bullets like ping off your armor, like
I'm like barely paying attention to the forces coming at me. I'm trying to find the canoness I was speaking to earlier, as I catch a heretic in the air and just like snap the neck as I'm trying to find where the base of operations is for this combat.
I would say most likely you'd catch the heretic charging at you by the neck and squeeze, and his head actually just like flies off.
It just pops.
Yeah, like a champagne cork. And then like I'd say probably like for the other one, like I don't know. Are you even gonna use your weapons, or are you just gonna like punch him?
They're just humans. They're squishy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm.
Just
it's probably
backhand.
there's probably a lot of them. I'm just gonna like sweep across with my sword.
Yeah.
I realize I don't need it, so as I sweep and clear the, I don't know, a couple of feet around me.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna holster that,
Okay.
and let my brothers close in.
Yes, and within a short amount of time, the remnants of what made it through the gunfire and the phosphex are cleared up by either close combat, a tiny little bit of close combat, not many made it to you, and then after that, just like a few shots, a few things, and then I would say probably one of your sergeants. The times when Varric was the sergeant. One of your sergeants reports in via helmet comms and says, "Captain, the area has been cleared. It seems that more forces are on the way. However, for now, the danger has passed."
Please look over the barricades, make sure they are up to par. Get me some scouts. I need ingress on the Hive.
Yes, Captain. But for now, the area is clear, and essentially you can spot the Canoness Commander. She has
I bet she stands out.
yeah. There's distinctive enough gear. Canoness Commander, you see the Emperor's Angels, the Astartes of the Fidelis Angelus, fan out a couple of unhelmeted, slightly lighter armored looking Marines start moving towards the entrance. There is also like stomping around a dreadnought, a big beefy boy who has a what does he have? Is it a heavy flamer and
So he's got power claws, twin linked flamer, and he's got an underslung against his power underneath one of his power claws.
Okay, like that. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
He doesn't look like he kills things at range, let's say.
No, okay. And he has been responsible for a couple of the bisected bodies that are about the place. You know, just kind of like...
Dreadnought against humans, that is horrific.
Against hivers, like
they've probably had one meal a month.
Yeah. It's not even Imperial Guard or PDF, it's like just randoms.
And I take a leisurely stroll over to the commander, which is about 21 miles an hour.
Pretty quickly, Canoness Minerva, you are standing face to face with the captain of the Astartes, of an Astartes chapter. He is about 8 foot tall, so you know.
Oh God.
Yeah, he's big.
Okay.
However, you would say your faith and the faith of your sisters may even be stronger than his. An internal thought to have.
Okay.
I am curious as to who starts the conversation.
Definitely I would.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remove my helmet.
And then like this giant, you know, kind of under the. Actually, you know what? You'd have an attendant who, one of your like.
That's true. I would have an attendant.
They take your helmet off for you.
Yeah, I take my helmet off and just like hand it off.
To them.
Do you also have twins?
he does not have twins. Unfortunately, one of them died.
No.
I will slowly walk behind Sister Minerva, just stiff as a board.
Okay,
Just,
I
eyes forward.
immediately. I assume you've got marks of rank on you,
Yes.
so I can tell like she's the
Sister
the
Superior.
actual-
XO, essentially,
Just-
yeah. My second in command.
As I take my helmet off, I look kind of old, but I've got the bone structure of genetically modified meat.
Yeah.
So not handsome, but
Yeah.
like a beef.
Definitely modified.
Big beef.
Yeah.
A couple of scars. I've got 4 service studs above my eye. Would they know what those mean?
Do you guys think you have much experience with Astartes? Like, I don't think you'd have any experience with this chapter, so it would be minimal at best, anyway.
I just know that the sisters don't really intermingle a whole lot with other factions, but I don't think it would be out of the ordinary for them to not at least hear about it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think you'd have. I think you'd have some basic knowledge, but you wouldn't know the details. So you know that the service studs indicate length of service, and more equals more. But
More equals more.
but you wouldn't have like a implicit knowledge of like how long it actually means.
Yeah.
But I'd say given that he's got 4 service studs, you'd probably be like at least 200 years or so.
Okay. Got it.
Canoness Minerva.
You must be Captain Tykar.
And as she says that, I will salute across my chest, which is resplendent with a bright red eagle now, wouldn't it? With a red eagle like across the chest. We're here to provide support.
And I see you have already done so. The Emperor has blessed us this day. Thank you.
I have heard from your vox that the hive is full of heresy.
Very much so. And while we have expelled most of it, there has, as you've seen, been some uprising among those in the hive that we were amidst taking care of until about an hour or so our evac team would arrive, or whatever the team was that was to arrive.
Extraction
was here
team,
was here to arrive.
As you say evac, I kind of look up and then I look across to the hive. You may evacuate if you wish. Me and my brothers will purge this hive.
Allow us to be at your side then, to finish this out.
I think from the corner of my mouth you see a bit of a smile that, like, yeah, you are ready to fight, which, like, yeah, okay. Ami gal, she wants to kick some ass, that's cool.
I will not let this, as useful as it is, we will not let them just
No. If there's heretics to be purged, the sister's gonna be on that shit.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not gonna like force you to fight if you think this is lost. I will just fight until the hive is lost.
I'll give you this. Like all of the sisters will know this, and even the PDF will have a decent idea of this. Like you've just seen the deploying of, I'd say, about 3 or 4 squads of Astartes along with a dreadnought. That type of force is sufficient for, like, I'd say, like, a small war. Like,
Okay.
you know, if
They'll be able to take care of this.
Oh yeah. You could probably hold an entire hive from a full, like, enemy assault with that many Astartes.
Mm-hmm.
No less to say the sisters, you know, being capable of holding their own. Like, they're not going to take on an entire hive, but still, like, this is a vastly overpowered force to deal with, like a uprising at the bottom of the hive.
Yeah.
Don't look too much into it. It's fine.
We'll let them take the lead in this, but the sisters will stand by them.
Question: are you gonna let them take the lead? Like, you know,
I'm questioning so many of my decisions.
I'm not asking Tracy. I'm asking Commander Minerva. Like they're going in. You say you're going with them, and that's all good. Are you gonna let them take the lead, or are you going to
Don't worry about this. When you make this decision, there will be a little pop-up on the corner of the street, whether or not Halestri approves or not of your decision right now.
Oh my god, so much pressure, guys. Like, I'm like, dude, what makes me look like a good leader? Okay.
I can do it.
Yeah, you guys get to see Tracy's internal struggle, but on the outside, I got my shit together. I think. No, I don't. I think that we would take an equal level in this. All right, we're not letting them. We appreciate the help.
Sister Rose will say, Canoness Minerva has already gained a complete foothold of the PDF within the hive and has all access to maps and infrastructures.
I turn and address Sister Rose.
Yeah.
She's giving me some military lingo.
Yeah.
So she obviously knows something about how to have a fight. What is the training level of the PDF?
Basic.
Incompetent.
How many sisters under your command?
9 squads.
9.
Propose a joint venture. My brothers and I will take point. But we will need heavy support from your sisters.
Did you say we won't need or will need?
Will
need.
Okay.
Imagine him saying,
emphasize
"We
that-
won't need your help."
It's like,
I emphasized that we would take point, but I didn't
Okay.
say, oh, it's ours now.
Yeah.
okay, got it.
Yeah, she won't say anything though because that's Minerva's, so she will stay silent.
Very quick question. How much of that does Tykar believe that support will be needed from the sisters? Or is it more being, politic?
Like,
I don't think support is needed.
Yeah, but it's
like
appreciated.
Tykar knows the the virulence, the absolute fighting prowess of the sisters is nothing to be sniffed at.
Oh yeah.
And he's worked with so many guard before, and these are a step above. I mean, they have some augments, and they will fight until they're dead. Everyone knows that. So it's not like I need you to defeat this hive, but without your help, it will definitely be longer and more difficult. So yeah, I think
yes.
I don't think he dismisses that they would actually provide proper support.
Yes.
And at that point, your tech priest, tech priest, moves up to you, and it still helmet on, but not doing internal communicate. Yeah, sorry, tech marine. Sorry, yeah.
I was like tech priest.
Yeah, sorry, tech marine.
Tech priest.
He moves up and not using the internal comms, but actually projecting his voice out so that the sisters and everyone can hear as well. Says, Captain, the strike cruiser is moving in to intercept the incoming enemy ships. Current battle estimates say that 40% will manage landing on the planet.
What? I'd already know this. What?
Yeah.
What is the size? What is 40%?
40% is like maybe like a. It's hard to say exactly, but we're talking like landing craft of maybe a few thousand.
Okay.
So you're talking like probably a good few equivalents of like regiments of the Imperial Guard. A decent whack of planetary invasion force, basically. But the strike cruiser should be able to take around about 60% of the forces coming, so that will give you a better fighting chance.
Okay. Canoness. Do the sisters have like battle engineers?
I don't think so.
Or do they use Mechanicus for that kind of stuff?
The Mechanicus tends to be used for their war gear. Yeah.
I'll allow my tech marine to converse with your Mechanicus, so we can get a more defensible LZ. We might be here for a while.
Very well then. We will patch him in, as he is not here currently. We will patch him in. Very well.
And over your command comms coming from the Fortress Chapel, actually it would probably be Zitra hails you and says, Canoness Commander, this is Zitra. I just want to inform you that one of the cancelled excursion squads has not reported in. We're currently unaware of their position.
Thank you for letting me know.
I will keep you up to date as needed.
Thank you. Okay.
Are you impassive when you answer on your comms?
In what way? Like, do we...
Well, because that's a problem. Did that come out
Yes.
when you were replying, or are you just stoic? Yes. Okay. Thank you for the information.
She is probably trying to be as stoic as possible about it.
Yeah.
So this crew, so the crew that didn't make it back, which crew is that? The cancel crew?
So that was one of the squads that were going to go out with the regiments, the Imperial Guards, on like a strike on one of the planets, the enemy planets. However, the excursion got cancelled because of the impending like invasion, the problems here, etc. So they were on schedule to go out, and then the excursion was cancelled, and they basically were supposed to come back and report back. They didn't.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's just another administrative problem
Yes,
for Minerva
okay.
to deal with.
But to me, that's not really urgent right now. But that is good to know.
It's
Okay.
like Canoness Minerva will remember that.
Yes, exactly. Okay, got it.
So, I will say that as your forces are brought to bear, as the Astartes of the Fidelis Angelus prepare themselves to, let's say, infiltrate, although it sounds a lot more sneaky than it's actually going to be, the Hive, along with the sisters of the... God damn it, why did I have to call into... it is the sisters of the Order of Pure Intent.
Pure Intent.
There we go. The camera fades as a large set of adapted transport ships start to bear down on the planet as the space navy forces of the planet prepare to take out as many as possible. The invasion is coming, and very soon will begin. Okay, Peachy, sorry you didn't get it earlier, but dude,
I am here now.
There was a lot going on.
such a sick entrance. I love it.
Yeah, that was really cool.
We had the Space Marine that entrance up.
Also, hey, it's always possible that Peachy could join us next time as well, so that we can have a bit more time to roleplay with him. The captain can come over for a cup of tea and then leave.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I come on, I'm like, hi, we're here now. And then, like, before the next episode, everything's sorted. And it's just like, well, that was a good battle, wasn't it?
It's one of the things I love about like doing 40k shows is having the sweetest, loveliest people here who have to fight so hard against their instincts to be assholes. Oh
my god!
So Peachy's
like,
not one of those.
I'm sure
Been in character for 3 hours just in
yeah.
case Sheepy's like, okay, it's time.
And go. It's like I'm sure Peachy had a little chuckle, same as me, when Minerva, Tracy as Minerva was like, please step out the way, and I'm like, you're the Canoness. Come on, you don't need to say please. You should like, and it's like, yeah, that's true. That was me being polite.
I appreciate you guys like helping me kind of step out of my own role play like level comfort zone to somebody. So I'm like, I have to be nice, but it's like, no, you don't. And it's funny because I talk a lot of talk outside of game, like as like I subscribe to the Sisters of like the Sororitas way of life in my real life. But like when I'm actually role playing, I'm like, no, Trace, you have to live up to this. You have to be a mean, badass leader. So...
I mean, you're doing it, like, you know. You massacred the populace of the Hive.
Yeah,
like...
I was thinking, I'm like, man, this is gonna be in like the textbook. I was like, at first I was like, I don't want this to be one of those like massacres in the textbooks later, you know, for people to look back like the massacre of the Hive on planet, you know, whatever planet. And I was like, oh man, that's what we're doing right now. But that's okay.
The way it played out made a lot of sense. I'd say the only thing I would maybe count as a war crime, in terms of like just generalized, is sending Rose out with the orders of do whatever you feel necessary. You say that if you send Rose out and say that to her, like, that's a war crime. I feel like, you know what's gonna happen there.
Sister Rose is a war crime.
Yeah, no, she is. She is. Which I love.
am Sister Rose is the walking war crime, like 100%. Well,
so seeing as we're on a bit of a time crunch, and I don't want to forget this time, I'm going to quickly run through the super chats, so we can answer questions, and then we'll do outros, and then we'll head off. A special thank you to everyone for being a little bit flexible with the start times, so that we could have Kat here, because we don't want to lose Kat if we could avoid it. Although, next week I do believe we do not have you here.
So you won't be here for the tea chat with the captain.
Oh yeah, you're going to miss all the cool peachy times. And possibly, but the week after there'll be some fun times too. We have other guests.
It would be fun to see Rose against a mutant to see like how she vibes with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because mutant, but also Big E is like my grandpa. So.
Yeah. It's like, oh god, they're angels of the Emperor, but also they're mutants. But I love them, but I hate them. And which way do I go? She'll probably just get angry and punch you like that. That's what would happen with Rose.
Possibly.
Yes. Super chats. Mark Numbers, also known as Mark3186. What do you call a space emperor? A plutocrat.
I do admit I had to chuckle at that one in the beginning.
Although I always spell emperor wrong. Is that correct, or is that is it EROR or is it ORER?
I thought it was EROR.
EROR. Emperor.
I'm not looking to call Mark out. You know, like he's.
But you kind of did.
I kind of. I'm sorry, Mark. Like you super chatted, and then I'm like, oh, fucking spelling, what a nerd.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank
I should just say
Thanks,
thank you.
Mark.
Following up from that, the Blind Watchman says, I will be getting the top tier patron at some point. Oh god, don't do that. What are you? That's.
This is a threat.
This is a threat. On a side note, I have two questions. Is Helestri, sorry for spelling, I'm at work, the monastery mascot, and how many people asked to be stepped on?
That reference to last week,
Yeah.
when Minerva was literally stepping on people.
Yes, I was like everybody's dream. To be stepped on by a sister.
Yeah.
Is Helestri
I'm
the
kind of
mascot?
becoming the mascot, of our squad.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah.
In a way.
You're
Most
the
definitely.
nice mascot.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
A mascot
Rose
and
is
a bloodhound.
the absolute insanity mascot.
Yeah.
I'm the nice, calm one.
I'm the unhinged one.
Nice, calm
Yeah.
sister. That is a wow. My brain hurts.
It's like a 90s pop group. You have the like sweet innocent one, the crazy one, the
And the war crimes. That was my,
Yeah.
my favorite part about the Spice Girls.
yeah,
was
the war crime
Is the-
war crime spice was my favorite Spice Girl.
Oh my gosh.
mustard gas spice.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But I love all the Spice Girl references in the Wormhammer books, you
Yeah.
know? Like, you really just see the inspiration.
Blue on blue spice. For the players, this is from Duzapin Dan. Which faction of Chaos would your characters enjoy fighting the most, and which would they most easily be corrupted by? I mean, I feel like Khorne is the obvious choice for Rose.
Yeah, I think for Rose, yeah.
Like,
Definitely.
it would be a very quick shift from for the Emperor to Blood for the Blood God. Like, it'd just be like, I didn't change my personality at all. I just changed what I say.
Yeah, I just changed my saying, Job's done.
It's all just chanting, whatever.
Yeah.
You'll have to help me with this one because I know literally nothing of it, but I imagine that, like, thirsting for too much knowledge and stuff
I would say Zinch.
would be
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
The desire for knowledge and like plumbing mysteries, very much a Zinch thing.
There you go.
He-
Or the Dark Mechanicus.
Yeah, could be.
Because
Could be.
Vashtor, he's almost a god.
Yeah. And
I would enjoy probably purging Slanesh the most. Because Slanesh is very corrupt.
oh god, yes.
So get out of here. But also maybe the most likely to get corrupted by Slanesh.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah. But yes, I'm anti-Slanesh. Sorry, everybody.
But also pro Slanesh. But also pro
But also
Slanesh,
pro-
apparently.
it's like, yes.
That's another love-hate there, like, yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
Next up is Tominel. That's not this is in quotes. That's not genocide. If we're not sure, we send people straight to the Emperor so he can personally judge guilt and innocence.
Ah, yes. The Emperor who has no stains on his
Oh no,
None.
yeah, he's
yes.
He's been the perfect leader, the
No
perfect
genocide by him.
perfect
No.
father. He never burned a religious
No.
world down.
No.
He never. God, yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, if you do throw out a super chat, feel free to also ask questions if you have any questions of any of the casts or anything like that. Like going along with super chat, always feel free to do that. Part of the reason we do it. Coming from Corval, praise be to the Emperor, daughters of the God Emperor. Oh, sorry, praise be to the daughters of the God Emperor. May this paltry donation appease him on holy terror and bless this show and all shows to come. The Emperor protects. That's really sweet. Thank you. Like, yeah, I like that. And yeah, bless the sisters. Crazy, murdering sisters.
Bless them. You know, they're just cuties. They're just a little angy, you know?
Just a little angy. I can't believe I said angy. Yeah, that's...
That was
Angie
funny.
sisters that smell a bit of Prometheum.
Oh, the citizens were the angy ones, apparently, according to me. And from Damned Man. Hello, Canoness Galatiya, brackets Miss Magitech. Inquisitor Damned Man here. Does Sister Rose seem a bit too bloodthirsty in your expert opinion?
That is a good, in my expert opinion. There is, in my mind, and the sisters, like, yes, like all of their hymns and stuff are all about like fire, burn, purge, like let none be like spared. But I think Sister Minerva has a bit of empathy and like, how will this make us look? So she's trying to always think about that. So yes, sometimes going a little too bloodthirsty, she may see as a problem. So maybe yes, but it's not necessarily a problem she's worried about tackling anytime soon. Like, she will let her be bloodthirsty, and it's like, no, that, you know, and that's her, you know, what she's good for in a lot of
war,
ways
you
too.
need a weapon, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Sometimes
So,
you need a scalpel, sometimes you need a hammer. Just depends what
Yep.
you're doing.
I got one of each. I got a whole
Yeah.
extra list, you know. So yes.
And sometimes your hammer happens to be a wrecking ball, and if some
Yep.
buildings get destroyed, whatever. But yes,
What buildings?
yeah, they're all burned now. Yeah, but thank you everyone who's done the super chats. Massively appreciate it. All of the super chats also go towards cast pay. If there's any left over, which currently not really, but if there is any left over, it'll go to production. So like these overlays, for example, and the art that you see in some of the other shows, all things like that. And as a
How
great...
cool is the logo, though?
Dude,
It
I
is
love
very
the logo.
It's a cool logo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But yes, if you okay, the Blind Watchman, who's keeping squad kill count? I'm unsure. Thank you for the
Shit.
super chat.
Yeah.
I would say, like, given how we do the combat, you can assume that they're all already into the double digits and probably
Yeah.
starting
One
to-
hive, two hives.
Yeah, there you go. That's the kill
Yes.
count. But yes, again, thank you for the super chat. Yes, a good example of where your money goes to, if you go and watch the Duacrum Outlook, we put a lot of production money into that one. Hopefully, if you watch it, you enjoy it. It was recorded, edited quite heavily. A lot of the patron went to the editor, who did a fucking amazing job, and also to the double cast. There were 12 or so people over 12 or so episodes. So
It's really good. You should definitely watch that, and you can watch it in like 4 different ways.
yeah.
It's very cool.
So let's hit some outros and then we'll head off because I don't want to keep Cat any longer than I can avoid. We will start with our bestest boy and my bestest guest. I'm tired. Varak, Tykar, and also Peachy.
Hi, I'm Peachy Pixelate. I do miniature gaming, painting, and stuff over right here on YouTube, and I stream Thursdays to Sundays on twitch.tv/PeachyPixel8. I'm really smart and handsome. This is an avatar.
I'm going to throw it out to everyone watching currently live and everyone who is watching on the video, on the VOD later. Take this moment at the end of the show to go over to Peachy's video and comment, "You are smart and handsome." He will love that. Thank you.
I have to reply to those, otherwise they
I
stay
know,
in my
I know.
inbox.
Yes. You have to reply, thank you, I am a smart and handsome boy to everyone.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. This is our pact. Hot potato, it's so peachy.
Hot potato to Tracy. Also, Canoness Commander Minerva Galatiya.
Yes, in all caps I put in our Zoom.
Canoness
Commander. Don't forget it.
Someone's trying to play rank wars with a captain.
Yes. Don't forget it. Hi everybody, I'm Tracy, Miss Magitech, MagRPG. You can find me at twitch.tv/MagRPG, where this Friday I'm starting a Werewolf the Apocalypse Chronicle, mini chronicle for a couple of Fridays. Also tomorrow we're starting a Girl by Moonlight, which is the Forged in the Dark system, similar to like Blades in the Dark or Scum and Villainy, the same system. They made like a Magical Girls version, which is very cool. It was on Kickstarter, backed it on Kickstarter. Now it's live. So we're going to play Magical Girls, Blades in the Dark, Scum and Villainy. So that'll be really fun. But yeah, that's me. And that's all the stuff I have. I will hot potato to Kat.
Hi, I'm Kat. I play your favorite walking bloodthirsty war crime. Yep. Tech priests are bad. Anyways, yeah, you can find me on Twitter. I'm CatCat, and at the moment, I'm taking a wee break from streaming on Twitch, but it is I'm Cat for those of you who are curious. I am currently focusing on art. I draw emotes and logos and all that kind of cool little stuff. So if you're interested, my commissions are open.
Can I throw your commission email in the description for
Yeah.
the videos? Okay.
Mhm.
I'll just throw it at me. If you're interested in commissioning Kat for emotes or any little bits and pieces like that, a link will be in the description to her email for commissions.
Yee. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Yee.
Potato.
I've been addicted to Helldivers
Oh.
too. That's about it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stop playing it. It's too good.
Potato.
I'll forcefully take your hot
Popcorn.
potato.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, would you like to forcibly take my
I'll
hot
forcibly
potato?
take
Are
your
you
hot
going
potato.
to move to her physically?
I will. I'll run to her.
Yeah.
Fast walking. Hi, I'm Sigrings. I do cosplay and TTRPG stuff on Twitter and Instagram. Maybe next week I'll do a little more Heresy again. You know, just
Lovely.
a little bit, just a little taste of it. You know, just to know what it tastes like, so I never taste it again. You
Yeah.
know, just like I'm a bloodhound and I can sniff out Heresy. So I'm looking forward to having a little teacup and a little chat with our dear captain next week, where I'll probably just sit in the corner of the room and be silent while the Canoness Commander and the
met.
captain talk.
Like, oh, she's so amazing.
Yeah, just being like, oh my god, I'm so happy to be in this room.
Yes.
There you go. Sheepy, take it away.
I'm Sheepdog. This is The Wandering Inn. Check out the Patreon. If you want, especially if you want more shows, once we have reached a certain target, I'll be able to pay 2 casts without destroying my wallet. And then we'll be doing 2 shows a week, which is something I am very much wanting to get to. And hey, if you enjoy the shows, yeah, like that's the goal. To save Kat from basically having to immediately leave the second we finish here, I'm going to say thank you for watching. Really hope you enjoyed it, everyone. We're going to head off, and we'll be back next week at the usual time with a Peachy and yes, a Peachy. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I panicked
Be
for a
cool
second.
Space Marine.
Yeah.
The
And,
whole show I've been sitting here going, "Ah."
and also
Imagine him letting you on for like 15 minutes and saying, okay, that was cool, bye. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. And also an Ellie will return, so if you enjoy our non-dialogue dialogus, then come back for that. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
I completely messed that up.